Greetings and welcome everyone. Anthony Mars Jr. on PR Lost Galaxy 2014, and welcome everyone to Terra Venture Podcast episode number 300, presented by PR Lost Galaxy 2014's Facebook and Instagram pages and my Morphin Megaforce Power Rangers Facebook group. Haven't seen any? Check them out now. Well, what a massive achievement, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all Power Ranger fans of all demographics and ages and whatnot. I have finally, for the first time in 4 years since I started doing podcasts and, well, commentaries along the way at first, I can't believe it's been 4 years now that around this time, 4 years ago, I started doing a video series of something on PR Lost Galaxy 2014. You know, spill some time to talk to the audience and put out my opinions about things about Power Rangers and Super Sentai, known as Terra, PR Lost Galaxy 2014's video commentaries, but later turned video podcast, and then now the Terra Venture podcast. So it's quite of an evolution over the course of 4 years. But around those 4 years, however, I know I've had some ups and downs doing these kind of videos. I know in some of the original videos, if you go back to some of those old videos, podcasts and commentary videos I did, there had been, when I would record these videos back when I had whatever little, technology I had to upload these videos in another way, I would, of course, during recording of the podcasts, when I would edit them later on during post-production of these videos, I would edit out any interruptions from, like, whenever I have someone knocking on my door or whatever. So the 300th Terra Venture podcast has finally happened. I know, unlike 2 years ago when I moved, well, episode 200 happened when I just moved here in this apartment, right around the same time when Linkara put out his History of Power Rangers on Megaforce 2 years ago in December. But now, at the near tail end of October, early November, Terra Venture podcast episode 300 has finally happened. And it finally happened. And just so you know, the reason why I'm also at the time of this recording, one of the reasons I'm putting this episode out early is because I'm going to have a complete internet outage for quite some time, and I'll find a way to upload. Well, in the meantime, I will find some way to upload the videos at a certain public location. What I'm going to do is edit the videos without no internet, and the internet will be cut off, and I won't be able to release any further videos in my home location in the meantime. Maybe I'll upload these videos at a public library, but that's what's going to make you. This is what's really going to be a bit of a harsh decision, because you see, the internet provider that we have is going to get cut off, and I'm going to have to find another way to upload some of the following videos to round out the end of 2017, beginning 2018. So in the meantime, when you know that after this video and other couple of videos left, after October is over, by the time October is over, you know that PR Lost Galaxy 2014 is not going to die. It's just that I just got to find some ways to keep on going with these videos and try to get them out there as much as possible as I can. So that's why I'm trying to do the best I can to find a way to put these videos out. I mean, I have done this before. When I first moved into this apartment 2 years ago, near 2 years ago, around come December, I had a hard time. When I first moved in this apartment, I had no internet. I had to go to a library. I had to go to the local library where I live at to post my response to my original version of said video of response to Linkara's History of Power Rangers, and had that published on over at there until by the time we did get internet, because but I ain't going to say no private stuff. I prefer the private stuff. But when we got internet, and when I got internet here in this apartment last year, that's when I was making a whole bunch of load of videos. But knowing a lot of those videos, maybe what I should have did was slowed up on these podcasts. But no, for those who saw all of my podcasts from 2016, even though if 2016 was the first full year without who, and of my family and all that, and the grieving of him and all that. But all of that is done and dealt with already. It's time I moved on after 2 years and just realized I need to move on. And also, another news before we get to the big thing to celebrate 300 videos of this podcast series. Even though I've been spending most of the time talking about doing podcasts about Power Rangers, then doing other things, because my original purpose is what my channel was supposed to be, but ended up being something else, to giving out my opinion about the TV show of Power Rangers, the toys and all that. But I really need to, shake up the status quo following now, since this is 300 episodes later, and I can't believe I finally made it that far up to the top with these videos of Terra Venture Podcast, previously the other two names of what the podcasts were originally called. And I've been waiting for you guys listening, sitting through all my videos of Terra Venture Podcast for 4 years. 2 years, because that's what they were called originally, since 2015, because I remember the first podcast video that I've ever called this under Terra Venture Podcast was when I did that video about a particular movie, but not related to Power Rangers, but a movie based on another franchise, based on a nostalgic children's property, which Hollywood ruined 8 years ago, and you know what the movie was. And when I posted that said podcast in 2015 under Terra Venture Podcast's name, instead of calling it PR Lost Galaxy 2014 podcast, video podcast, whatever name I can call it, because you can tell that over the course of 5 years, PR Lost Galaxy 2014 and has been like all over the place. My channel, when I came on PR Lost Galaxy 2014 5 years ago, when you saw for those who saw, any of the first couple of people who saw the first couple of videos I uploaded around this time 5 years ago, my original purpose here was to make fan films of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, but we'll get to the fan film stuff after I talk about this stuff. Commemorating 300 videos of the podcast and 5 years of my channel. But as time went on, and based on some bad mouthing I got from those on Ranger Board and their fan film thread, and yes, I've read it, but even though I don't mess with forum threads, and no offense to anyone at Ranger Board, but the thing is, of course, as a fandom, when you go on forum sites and message boards, you have the freedom to talk as much shit as you want, and talk, even if it's someone lowbrow and low grade like I am with some of the content I put out, and call me out a troll, like I was trolling everybody on the internet and all that stuff. I'm not trying to be a troll. I'm not. It's just sometimes it takes time for me to think of a way to get these kind of things off the ground. Doing these films and knowing that whatever I did in my personal life at the time that caused me not to make these movies, that should be disregarded, that should be, in like personal Facebook posts, in your personal Facebook, don't share it if you're on a platform talking about a children's show, a long-running children's show, that's going to go on 25 years come next year and all. Why waste your time talking about your personal life, and what does your personal life have anything to do with said franchise and its loyal but small fan base? Nobody wants to hear your little sob story like, oh, your girlfriend broke up with you, or oh, you lost your father, yeah, well, rest in peace, or oh, why are you such a whiner because you think, oh, nobody's gonna like your movie because it looks like crap. Well, again, it's just, you can tell what kind of a belligerent person I was for the last 5 years, because I just tend to, and also giving these excuses saying I'm busy, it go to show that I just didn't want to be bothered with people, but I really need to speak, hear people hear what I got to say, because I know it's hard to get any kind of any form of contact through people, to other people, with other people, because I know I tend to shut myself out from the world and not to be being social, because of course it's hard for people like me to. Well, it's not supposed to be that hard, but it has to be in a way where, forget it. But look, I finally made it to 300 episodes. And it's time I enjoyed myself doing this 300th episode, because I know I was going to do something special, and this is going to be the special one. It's not going to be like, oh, talk about commemorating, pandering back to 5 years of when I started the channel. Maybe I've already did that kind of commemoration of 5 years of my channel early in January when 2017 started. I'm not going to waste my time do that again, just, like repeat 10 months later since January and when 2017 started, and said, farewell 2016, you were an awful year. 2017 is doing pretty good so far, regardless of some of the slip-ups. And yeah, 2017 may have been, well, a here or there year for Power Rangers. I mean, the movie was good, but I heard that, Saban abandoned the logo trademark for the movies, planning on doing update. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Saban, okay, speaking of, before we talk about my thing, that's the big beef of the video. For those who may not know, within 48 hours of this, at this time, even at the time of when I recorded this, Saban abandoned the movie logo for the Power Rangers film franchise. Now, people may speculate that with the abandonment of the logo used for the movies, and also, which also, by the way, is used for Power Rangers Legacy Wars, Saban is planning on updating the logo for potential anything dedicated to the Power Rangers brand. Now, but in terms of the movies, now I know somewhere on Facebook and YouTube comments, people are thinking with the logo dropped and Saban abandoning it, they're probably thinking Saban's abandoning the sequels to the Lionsgate, to what Lionsgate had in store for the movies. Basically, Lionsgate, I don't think if those Power Ranger movies ever do continue, regardless of the minuscule mixed bag reception this movie got, maybe what we could have Saban do is just release the next 6 movies under his belt, under just Saban Films, SCG Films, and that's Saban Capital Group Films, and don't have Lionsgate any involved with the distribution. But although Lionsgate will distribute it if it was on DVD, but Saban, really, why did you have to abandon the logo? Yes, well, personally, I know when the Power Rangers reboot was coming out, I didn't want to give you my impressions on the logo and doing how many. I mean, you see, the thing is, the movie was great, but it's just wasting my time talking about the movie. Yeah, the movie was good and everything, but doing a bunch of dedicated videos about it and talking about Easter eggs or hintings or speculations and stuff, it go to show that Saban was really hyping this movie up like it's a big deal, and it was a big deal. But the shortcomings was releasing it in March, the same time as Beauty and the Beast, Kong Skull Island, Ghost in the Shell, Logan. In between all those films, Power Rangers was in the middle, and you knew that as soon as that was going to open, March 24th, then Saban was like, "Oh shit, Disney's going to crush us with their updated remake of a classic animated movie they've done back in 1992 or something, back over 26 years ago. Oh crap." So, they should have, like I said pretty much before, I think in a previous video this year about it, that what they should have did was release the movie in April, because April, there were hardly any good or decent blockbuster movies that came out in April other than Fate of the Furious. But what they could have did was release Power Rangers somewhere around in April, and then 2 weeks later would be Fate of the Furious, and then I guess Smurfs: The Lost Village came out at that time, I think. But still, regardless, that's what they should have did. So that way Power Rangers would have been successful, because, well, really, April is also a dead month anyway as well. And that's that, sell-em month where there is some good movies out and most bad and to blah movies. But still, actually, but still, regardless, though, Saban, you did a good job trying to bring back Power Rangers to the big screen, but I think it's time. What was an all good thing must come to an end kind of thing, I guess, has to come to an end at this point. Yes, I would love to see a sequel, but I'm sorry, guys, but it's just people just stop talking about it, because right now we're focusing now on the big 25th anniversary, back to focusing on the show, and whatever, but now we're back to focus on the TV show side of things of continuity. The movie was good, but it's time to focus back to the TV show. Even though as much as I still don't, yeah, here I go. Every time I say something about Ninja Steel, you know you guys are going to hear what I guess I'm getting ready to rip on this season. Wait until, again, in 2 years' time after Ninja Steel concludes for both seasons. Well, after the Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film standalone series I'm doing, Marchverse, which, by the way, didn't feel are not going to really be like Power Rangers Lost Galaxy based on how you remembered it from whenever you think about the theme song and when you think about what Leo and Maya and them did on the show, you're going to know that these films I've done were not really Power Rangers Lost Galaxy earlier on. But in the PRLU, I'm going to do another stab of rebooting Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. I have been mentioning it for a couple of times over the last 2 years since 2015 in a podcast. And for those who did watch that video, but even though there has been not that many comments or references about it yet, but in the PRLU, I am finally going to do, after my standalone films that have characters that are not related to the actual canon of the Rangers, of the actual Lost Galaxy canon, but possessing the powers and whatever in my final installment for that series, standalone series, I'm going to bring back those characters, Leo, Damon, and such, because my plans were, like the rest of the PRLU, is reimagine the Power Rangers universe, even if it's going to be for better or for worse. And you see, in this day and age where you got reboots and remakes and reimaginings, you know you're going to have people say, I don't like these choices, I don't like what they're doing with this, and the way how they're adapting comic books and also doing reboots of, you know, comic book movies that have had too many reboots than other characters. But you gotta understand, we're in this day and age where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is reigning supreme over other shared universe franchise films, and DC is trying to keep up with Marvel, catch up with Marvel. I know Justice League is coming up next month, and I will go see that on its opening weekend, like, you know, upcoming Thor Ragnarok. And I am really hoping to see how I'm going to establish this Power Rangers fan film universe, this little kind of Power Rangers cinematic universe devoted to the entire legacy, not just, again, for all the Mighty Morphin fans just trying to cater to you, but instead of the others, for those who like the entirety of the entire legacy of Power Rangers. But again, I'm not going to spend my time doing legacy movies about Power Rangers simply based on Mighty Morphin. Now, I know many of you are going to be upset that I'm going to do all the other ones, again, because I know I like to woof my mouth off to the Mighty Morphin crowd in my audience. But you got to understand, Power Rangers isn't just about the Mighty Morphin. You got Zeo, you got Turbo, you got In Space, you got Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, and so on. It's not just Mighty freaking Morphin. And I understand one of the reasons why I've been up and down losing faith in Power Rangers over the last 4 years was the constant amount of nostalgia for Mighty Morphin. And you see, Mighty Morphin was good for the time, but the way how I view it now in retrospect, looking back on all those episodes, including all those stupidly lengthy amount of filler episodes throughout those 3 seasons alone, they were just formulaic and repetitive over and over, with Monster of the Day doing the same repetitive thing, and the villains say the same old type of dialogue, copy and paste some dialogue. Then even though Bulk and Skull are the best parts of the 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin, the way how they're transforming from being, you know, stereotypical bullies who pick on the goody goods to actually, you know, actual legit heroes who stand up and want to, you know, be admired and inspired by the Rangers of what it means to be good. But again, that's Bulk and Skull. But the thing is, when I do the Legacy fan film universe, I'm not just going to spend my time doing Mighty Morphin fan films. Sure, yeah, out of every Power Rangers fan film I saw on YouTube made by many fans, whether if it's Power Rangers Zenith, Zordon of Eltar, that Power / Rangers short film that I still despise, that unmade, unfinished MMPR fan film that will never see the light of day, that a lot of people talked about since 4 years ago in 2013, at the time when I was doing this kind of stuff, when I was doing my standalone series of Lost Galaxy for films, and so on. And heck, even all those Power Ranger parody videos, like that Cookie Monster versus the Power Rangers video, which is banned, of course, or those two Smosh Power Ranger parody videos, especially, well, the first one is my most hated because of the whole mailman wearing the Pink Ranger thing, and I know I will not get over that. But I'm like, what's wrong? Nobody can't do fan films of other Power Rangers. I know that there have been fans who saw my original vlog video, if that was even a vlog at all, in 2013 when I said about the MMPR fan film, that it was getting everybody else's attention. But I gotta understand, if I'm committed to the project, I'm committed to the project just like anyone committed to a particular fan project of Power Rangers. But, you gotta understand that you're gonna have a lot of fans, going to have some commitment and dedication of doing a film based on whatever. It doesn't matter what Power Ranger series, as long as they're committed and they are true fans. Unlike you, Joseph Kahn. I know I should have never yelled from the top of my lung about it, but it's true. F you, Kahn. Anyway, so I've been waiting for the longest time to discuss this. Let's get on straight to what I have in store for the Legacy fan film universe of Power Rangers. What are my plans for these movies, and how many movies I'm going to do of these teams? Because something tells me I'm going to make this like a large amount of films, and probably some of them should just be part of an ongoing web series, like in the style of, like, let's say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Arrowverse on the CW, where some Ranger teams will have like Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow style web series. I don't know if I can do that, because I know I have been watching a lot of Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow and the Flash and Supergirl lately, but mostly all of Arrow, and see where I can formulate my pitch if this was like how I would do this with the Power Rangers. Or like Marvel's shows on Netflix, like, well, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, although I haven't got around watching The Defenders yet. The Punisher is probably out at this point, I think, or again been delayed, but still, regardless, point stands there. And yeah, I was thinking, what I've been wanting to do with the Legacy fan film universe was make these movies exactly like the Marvel Cinematic Universe meets DC's extended universe, mesh it with all these different elements of other. I guess I'm assuming I'm going to probably mesh what is popular with the superhero shows and movies and stuff we got out now, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DCEU, the CW TV universe of DC Comics / Arrowverse, and likely some of the animated shows that DC has of their characters, like Young Justice. Mesh it with Power Rangers. And in the meantime, I am going to find a way to formulate these pitches, or actually go with the Marvel Cinematic Universe approach with the Power Rangers. And I've been saying this ever since 2015, when I had a few of my subscribers who have made numerous comments every once in a while with these videos that I make, mentioned that Power Rangers, if we do reboots of Power Rangers, it needs to go the Marvel Cinematic Universe approach. Because you see, look, for those also out there in the crowd, for those who still like riding Christopher Nolan's dick about the Dark Knight trilogy, yes, I love Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, but I wouldn't go all my way out wanting to make a dark and gritty Power Rangers reboot just because, I just don't see, why do people want a dark, gritty reboot of the Power Rangers? Yes, I understand Power Rangers, from when you look back on these old episodes, it's always been goofy, lighthearted, and cheesy, but, you gotta understand that's the charm of the show. And there are times where I do like some of that goofiness and the cheesiness and stuff of Power Rangers. Of course, there have been, over the course of years, of the years of the franchise, unlike Mighty Morphin was all cheese and camp and all that all around. But when you look at seasons like Power Rangers in Space and Time Force and RPM and SPD and Dino Thunder, they had very serious storylines, complex villains, some interesting Rangers, And that's what made those seasons very golden. Hell, if you watch a season, well, hey, if you want to come to Power Rangers for much complex and dark storytelling and stuff, check out Power Rangers RPM. That season, even if you're not interested in Power Rangers outside of the original, RPM is probably going to be an interesting season for you, because this season of Power Rangers that I'm referring to, who, by the way, I do have a good set of Hollywood actors if they were the RPM, the RPM cast for reboot films of this thing I'm doing. RPM is like the Terminator meets Mad Max of Power Rangers. And I have to recommend you RPM. Or hell, if you want a Power Ranger series where a beloved mentor of several years of the franchise make a sacrifice and purify all those that are evil, and you got a team of Rangers who travel across many Milky Way galaxies to find said mentor, several years being captured by a bunch of villains over the course of those central years who want to take them out. And it's the big final frontier for all of mankind and Earth and space. Power Rangers in Space is that one series. If you want a Power Ranger series that had discrimination, prejudice, and racism, and heavy story dilemmas and dynamics, and great strong character development, and even beyond above average acting of a Power Ranger series, hello, Time Force. So, yeah, because this is probably what I have been formulating to do for these fan films and this ongoing saga of fan films based on these Power Rangers. But again, these are going to be reimagined, my takes in reimagining of these Power Ranger teams. That's if I ever will get that far with these teams. And in terms of the movies, in terms of length, that depends on how much I put input into the writing. What I will probably change up from the source material and what is going to be in these films. All right. Okay, so let's get on with the fan casting, shall we? There are only a few so far right now. There are only a few movies of the PRLU that are going to be slated in due time before any other of the other films. There is, of course, a new fan film reboot of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy I'm working on. No, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy 3 for the standalones that I've been doing since 2014 is canceled. Third movie is still in development, but I'm trying to find a way how I'm going to conclude that standalone continuity so I can work on this new continuity featuring the Lost Galaxy Rangers. But however, though, I'm trying to also at the same time will be a Mighty Morphin fan film, done by me, of course, because of all the constant amount of nostalgia I am sick and tired of for MMPR, I have but no choice but make a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan film series following first installment, and that probably will depend how many movies of Mighty Morphin I will do. However, for those who saw my notes about the fan film Legacy Universe thing on my personal Facebook, for those who've seen it, I did have plans for my MMPR film of this universe. Don't copy every single storyline or try to imitate everything the TV show did, but I'm trying to see how I'm going to work all that stuff out, combining the original TV continuity with the Boom Studio continuity, with the original movie continuity, with the new movie continuity, take all four of those different continuities of Mighty Morphin and cram them all into one continuity, but do it totally different. There will be some elements retained from it to pay homage to from those following continuities of Mighty Morphin for these fan films, and that way we'll have also Easter eggs and references for later Power Rangers down the line, of those films. And I'm trying to work my way out on trying how to do these films. And before anyone says, oh, you're joking, you're bluffing, you're never going to make this, I bet you now in months' time, if you're not really making progress on this movie, but yet you're doing standalone films of that so-called Charlie Brown Ranger series, then I think you're just bluffing and joking that you're not really going to make these movies. Ha ha ha, you're such a troll. I'm not a troll. But there have been so many things I want to do, and I know I have too many projects I want to do and want to make, and I'm going to go and do this as much as possible, regardless how much time I need to make these films. All right, now at the time of this, I need to scroll down to my personal Facebook, where I stated about the notes for this. Looking for it, because it's the same image as the image feature for this podcast, you know, opening up this video. I know it's been an hour because of all the stuff I said. So this is going to be a long video, guys, so bear with me what I'm going to say in this video as much as possible. All right, here it is. Power Rangers Legacy fan film description and slates. All right. Okay, so the first film of this new series of films, I'm going to kick off this continuity of fan films of Power Rangers, which will be on my channel in the future, starting with, well, by the way, when I do these films, they're not going to be in season order based on Mighty Morphin to Zeo, Zeo to Turbo, etc. It's going to be in a random order, kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I don't know whether, like or unlike the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if I want to do these Power Ranger films in different phases and have them in the same universe as one of another. Because I think one of the reasons why I think some people are sick of the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point is probably the fact that when you see the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man 2, The Avengers, Spider-Man Homecoming, or the upcoming Black Panther, you're going to have like characters from various different movies coming back, you know, in and out of cameoing or making guest appearances in their respective films when it's supposed to be about, like, let's say, if you got Black Widow in the Captain America movie, it's supposed to be about damn Captain America. Or if you have Spider-Man in a upcoming, like, Black Panther movie, it's supposed to be about Black Panther. Or if you have, let's say, Thor in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, it's supposed to be about the damn freaking Guardians of the Galaxy, not Thor. Or if you have Ant-Man in a possible whatever type Avengers movie, Ant-Man is not supposed to be in it, even though he is part of the Avengers, because, you know, in some comics of Marvel, Ant-Man is part of the Avengers. At least DCEU, well, with the exception of Batman v Superman, you had Wonder Woman in there because I'll give you this one thing for Batman v Superman when they did Wonder Woman. Even though as much as I badmouthed her and stuff, and yes, Wonder Woman was great, the movie was great, but in terms of my initial thoughts on Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, though, that the reason they put Wonder Woman in the middle near the end of Batman v Superman is to promote her own movie and also have her set in time for the Justice League, which makes sense. Now, suppose when I do, like, let's say Power Rangers, the first legacy, the first of a set of films of the PRLU based on MMPR, what if I end up putting a character from, let's say, Power Rangers Zeo, like the Gold Zeo Ranger in a Mighty Morphin movie? You guys are going to get distracted about, oh, what the heck is the Gold Zeo Ranger doing in a Mighty Morphin movie? Or what the heck is the Machine Empire doing with, facing the Mighty Morphin Rangers when Rita and Zed are supposed to deal with the Mighty Morphin Rangers? The Machine Empire should wait until like a future Zeo film installment. You can't do that. Well, of course, I mean, Marvel has been doing this a lot of times. I mean, I have been revisiting these Marvel Cinematic Universe films, except Doctor Strange. Out of all the Marvel movies I caught up on, I still have not seen Doctor Strange. But still, it's just when you see Marvel do that, I'm like, why are they doing that? I mean, of course, they're part of the same universe. When you see DC's movies, right now, just Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, upcoming Justice League, and next year will be Aquaman. But you don't see DC, go all the way, having other characters from the DC universe, like, let's say, Nightwing or the Red Hood or Cersei or or Power Girl, or the Green Arrow, or the Black Canary making cameos in Justice League, or Wonder Woman or nothing. No, the movies focus on the main title characters of the DC universe you're actually doing movies of. At least you don't have you do have references to Bruce Wayne / Batman in Wonder Woman. Yeah, I know, spoiler for those who haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. But again, you gotta understand that's what DC does, and at least you don't have the characters actually shown. Just have Easter eggs to those characters, because you're watching a film that is part of the DCEU. Or Suicide Squad, even. Yeah, sure, Batman, okay, with the exception of that, in that movie, Batman, there was a reason to put Batman, Batfleck, Ben Affleck, in that movie, because they're also probably setting up his own movie in the DCU entitled The Batman. But of course, you do have one of the reasons it makes sense. You got many references to Gotham City and Suicide Squad, because to me, Suicide Squad felt more like a Batman movie with all these different villains in it than a Justice League, part post Batman v Superman movie. And you have Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and whoever, all these other guys in the Suicide Squad. And in that case, maybe I might do a Power Rangers fan film style, Suicide Squad style Power Rangers film featuring, like, let's say a couple of villains from, fan favorite villains for a Suicide Squad style Power Rangers movie. How great would that be? Let's have Lord Zedd as the leader of this Suicide Squad-esque Power Ranger team, and I'll pick any type of villain, villains, from various seasons into that roster of, a Power Ranger villain movie, where it's Lord Zedd or Diabolico here, Zenaku there, Astronema here for one of the female characters, or Daishi in this one, or one of the Psycho Rangers in this mix, that kind of thing like that. But yeah, so I would like to see what it'd be like if I were to do a Suicide Squad type Power Rangers movie featuring, villains from Power Rangers. All right. So on with the first two films slated for this first phase of the PRLU. Starting with movies based on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. And again, they're not going to be in order based on by year, because of how the show was produced in terms of the timeline of Power Rangers. Okay, Power Rangers: The First Legacy, based on Mighty Morphin, with some utilized elements from the Boom Studio comic series and a Marchverse reboot. So yeah, now about the PRLU, this will pay homage to some elements from each season of Power Rangers from the TV show. But these movies, these fan films I'm doing, and knowing fan fiction have nothing to do with main canon, they're not going to be set in the same universe as the TV show. I'm going to tell you now, they're not. Because, you see, doing these fan films and knowing I'm a Power Rangers fan, and then whatever of the following actors I'm going to mention for these fan casts, you're going to tell me it's going to be hard when I come up with these following choices of actors. I know I'm an hour in. You're going to tell me, based on if I got a particular actor that I got for Tommy, you're going to tell me he's going to be no Jason David Frank. Or if I got an actor that will be Carter Grayson, you're going to tell me he's no Sean C.W. Johnson. Carter Grayson. Or if you're going to tell me I got an actress to be Dana, the Pink Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue, you're going to tell me she's no Allison McInnes. You're going to tell me when I get an actor to be Jen, the Pink Ranger from Time Force, you're going to tell me she is no Erin Cahill Jen. Oh, come on. Look, the following actors that I have for these films for some of the following seasons and some of the choices that are utilized and put down, most of them are not, you see, I don't want these characters correlating to what all the actors, over the 100+ actors that have been voice characters and face characters in Power Rangers, have to be exactly like the way how Austin St. John or Jason David Frank, David Yost, Walter Jones, Catherine Sutherland, Johnny Young Bosch, Jason Font, Jason Smith, Andrew Gray, Ciara Hanna, Yoshi Sudarso, Danny Slavin, Allison McInnes, Sean C.W. Johnson, and all those guys have done on the show, because that was their characters. What I'm doing based on their characters, I'm going to find ways to do around those characters and not make them exactly the same carbon copy clones of those characters. If they don't, when I do these reimaginings and reboots of these original characters, I am not going to have them exactly like the way how those actors play. Well, even though, of course, it's Power Rangers, but you do realize Power Rangers doing these movies, and when I'm going to do these movies, they're not going to be like the show, because I don't want them to resemble too much like the show, because you guys are going to be confused whether this is in continuity with the TV show or not. Because I don't want to slip up and end up, go ahead and put down comments saying that you're going to end up ruining our childhoods if you come up with these bad casting choices and stuff. But I have been careful with some actor choices for some of the following Ranger teams and stuff and villains. But I had to be careful. But I wanted to do something unique and different from it, because, I have to be about divert, and of course, with the day and age now, it's about diversity. And now, once when I get to the Mighty Morphin cast, which is the first in line, because Mighty Morphin, the team that started all, so that's why the first film of the PRLU will be a Mighty Morphin centric movie. But there is a lot of stubble changes that is going to cause a lot of you Mighty Morphin fans to get pissed at me when I go through this. So let's get on with it anyway. So, yeah. Power Rangers: The First Legacy will be a reboot of the original Mighty Morphin series, where instead of the Rangers being teenagers in high school, in my version for this reimagining of MMPR, they are working adults still continuing their duties of being Power Rangers. So that means no origin of me reimagining and adapting Day of the Dumpster and other episodes from the TV show, like I mentioned on the notes on my Facebook for those who've read it. Still, they are adults still continuing the duties of being Power Rangers and facing Rita Repulsa and her evil army. Rita and Goldar will be main villains for this installment of the series of this film. This film will, as a reboot, will not be a retelling of iconic Mighty Morphin stories, like I said earlier, such as Day of the Dumpster or Greenwood Evil, but I guess it'll pay homages to some of that stuff. It will contain its own storyline for these movies based on Power Rangers following this will contain. Will have its own story. Will have its own storyline around surrounding the Mighty Morphin characters. Some references from the show will be used, and you're probably wondering what references, like peripheral, superfluous characters like Ernie or Mr. Kaplan, Lieutenant Stone being in this. Well, who knows? And the second film, again, out of order, not doing Zeo afterwards or Turbo, but I do have In Space and Lost Galaxy swapped around for this wave of films. So, okay, Lost Galaxy fans, like I said, after I finish Wrath of Trakina and when I do the third and final standalone Lost Galaxy movie of its film series, this fan film reboot for the PRLU of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, separate from my initial fan film trilogy, blah blah blah, will contain the names of the original Lost Galaxy Rangers. That means the Rangers that I've had in the standalone movies that you've been following this whole time were not really the Lost Galaxy Rangers. And based on the likenesses of the following actors like Katie Cassidy and Krista Milioti, Wes Bentley, and whoever, those were not really the Lost Galaxy Rangers. And I bet you now when you heard that I was going to have the likeness of actress Milioti from How I Met Your Mother fame as, like, let's say Corone or Kendricks, you're probably wondering, is she Corone or Kendricks? Again, the films of Lost Galaxy I've done, with the exception of the fact I'm using some of the villains from the series, don't have the names of the original Rangers, but just their own characters doing, trying to be their own thing. That's why I made those movies do their own thing. But the Galaxy Rangers, when we go through these casting calls as much as possible, I'm going to tell you what those guys are. All right. Leo, Kai, Maya, Kendrick, and Damon will have different backstories than their TV counterparts. That means Leo won't be some stowaway on Terra Venture. Damon won't be complaining about why do I always have to be decoy. He can still be a mechanic but have some other profession. And Kendrick, or Kendrick's being a scientist, but whatever. All right. So, and I also do have a planned Power Rangers in Space movie kind of in the works after the two movies. All right, let's go through some of the following choices I have here. Let's start with Mighty Morphin first. Timestamp, please. Click on the following timestamp to where I'm at with this, because I know I've wasted too much time earlier on in the beginning of the video. All right, so for my Red Ranger of Jason, for the longest time since I wanted to do a Mighty Morphin fan film, now, again, the actors that I have for these Power Ranger characters are not going to be like locals who want to get into acting. That's just like if I'm like, I don't have friends, but besides, the paper dolls and all that stuff. But, and again, the fan films, like the standalone movies, will utilize paper dolls for characters, made of matte mount board. But I will, of course, that depends on how long the legacy line will continue. I will collect and utilize the legacy figures for like some stop motion shots, and also use the legacy Megazords in case they're needed. All right, so the first Ranger. Okay, so the first Ranger. Now, considering that there is Hollywood talent for the likeness of some of these characters, since, you know, especially for those who did this kind of thing for MMPR in the past, before Saban did his movie for it, I got, you know, since I'm doing adults as the Mighty Morphin instead of teenagers, because looking, again, here's another thing why I've been bashing on MMPR. When I look back on Austin St. John and JDF and them, you see, to be honest, though, when the show started, it was teenagers with attitude. But when I look back on the original show, they were not really teenagers, were they? No! They didn't seem like teenagers, were they? Yeah, sure, they had Angel Grove High School and Ernie's, you know, juice bar and the youth center and stuff, Angel Grove Park, and then they had these community cleanups and karate tournaments and stuff like that. But is this how high school life was presented to us back, you know, like how, and when we, you know, for those who were grown-ups, you know, teenagers going to high school, you think that's how high school life was like, is like in real life? Hell freaking no! Okay, so that's why I'm doing a reimagining of Mighty Morphin if the Mighty Morphin Rangers were adults, not teenagers in high school. Because like I said back in my Don't Go Back to High School episode, a couple episodes ago, I don't want to, you know, have the Power Rangers being teenagers all the time. This is one of the problems why, you know, we have grown up, but this franchise has not grown up. In terms of, why do we gotta have teenagers as the characters? Why can't we have like Lightspeed Rescue or Lost Galaxy or In Space where they're adults with, you know, with professions? Why do we gotta have teenagers in high school? We should have just, like, back in Power Rangers Turbo, this is one of the reasons why some of the following dropped and lost interest in Power Rangers, was they still got the high school concept, when knowing Turbo was supposed to be the Rangers' graduation from high school. But no, why is it that for, also like I said in that video, later seasons, why do we have to have teenagers in high school still? They should have graduated. Again, with the exception of Dino Thunder, we can still have high school teenagers there. But after that, don't do more high school teenage Rangers. Ever. Okay, so, you know, alright, so with Jason, for my choice for Jason for the Red Ranger, you guys may be familiar with this actor. Let me pull it up, because in case if I don't know names of some of these people, so let's go straight to the point of who I picked. In terms of actor profile, what they've been on, and what would make me choose them to be these characters. Alright, so for Jason, the leader of the original Mighty Morphin team, I chose actor Garrett Hedlund for my choice of Jason. Now, for those who, you know, you guys may be familiar to Hedlund's work. I haven't. I only heard that he was on Tron Legacy, but I have not seen him in other movies. Before I go ahead and see what else he's been in other than that movie, said Tron movie, what else has he been in besides that? And actually, for the longest time, for those who remember hearing that I wanted to do a Power Rangers reboot film of MMPR in the past, I did at one point wanted Garrett Hedlund to be Jason, because I thought he would be a different interpretation. Now, the Jason that I'm going to probably adapt is going to be a combination of Austin St. John's version with Dacre Montgomery's version. With Austin's version is the martial arts stuff. Dacre's version in combination with, if Garrett Hedlund was Jason, I would have him as a sports athlete, probably like football star, like Dacre Montgomery's version, where he'll knowing that since I said I'm going to do adult Rangers, I'm not going to likely have him as like a Red Ranger with daddy issues. Maybe if I did that for like a Time Force movie, you know, adapting the Wes and Mr. Collins dynamic thing in my films in Time Force, Jason would be like, you know, he got in a car, you know, probably got in some accident, or like not like a car accident, but I mean some other type of accident. Jason was like, I don't want to put him in prison for accidents, but like he would be traumatized by what he did was that caused him an accident. But at the same time, what caused him not want to be like anything really, and so on, to whatever I would plan in terms of, you know, whatever I would do with Jason, of how I would adapt him. I would say that Jason would work for Angel Grove's police department. Again, I'm doing the Mighty Morphin if they were adults, with working professions and not high school teenagers who are just whatever, freshmen, sophomore, teenagers. Jason would work for the, my version of Jason would work for the Angel Grove Police Department. Part-time he would be out at the park doing some martial arts kicks and stuff, and even teach some people a bunch of martial arts moves, and they want to be, use martial arts only for self-defense. I don't know if I want Jason to have like some siblings or other family members mentioned. That's out of the way. Now, anyway, so Garrett Hedlund, what motivated me to cast him? He's been in a couple of movies like Troy, Friday Night Lights, Georgia Rule, Country Strong, Unbroken, Pan, awful Peter Pan adaptation, by the way, and Burden, and those are some of the following. He only had one television credit, and that was When I Was 17, Season 2, Episode 45. Okay, so Garrett Hedlund, I chose him for Jason, and that's what I'm sticking with. Second, okay, my next Ranger that I chose for this fan casting choice for the Mighty Morphin team. Now, get ready. I got Donald Glover. You may be familiar where he is now in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a particular character in Spider-Man Homecoming. Donald Glover as Zack the Black Ranger. Now, the Zack I'm going to do now, and bear in mind for those who love your Mighty Morphin, excuse me for the F-bomb there, I am keeping Zack as a black guy in the black suit. Now, I originally wanted done. Now, in terms of the casting and based on the fact how much I love the 2017 movie, I would have liked it if Donald Glover was a black Billy Cranston as the Blue Ranger. Maybe I could have gone with like two black people, like one black person in the black suit. No, not like what I did last time in my standalone stuff for Lost Galaxy. But Donald Glover, I kind of gone with him for being Zack because I thought he would be a good choice for Zack. I mean, other people have had other choices too with these fan castings, and I'm like, what is? I get with the nostalgia for MMPR, but because based on the fact that if Zack was the original Black Ranger and he was black, well, considering that this video is dated in 2017, 1993 anymore, I can make Zack stay the black guy, be the Black Ranger, not a problem. Like the original Zack that Walter Jones did, not Ludi Lynn's version, Walter was life of the party, hip hop keto, best friends with Jason. He was like his right-hand man, second in command of the original team. I don't know if I want Zack to be the comic relief of the group or I want Billy be comic relief, but we'll see. I was thinking instead of Zack being life of the party like he was in the original series, I don't know about hip hop keto, guys, because I know that was Walter's version. My version of Zack Taylor is likely not going to do hip hop keto because I really don't want to copy again every single, like I said for these films, copy everything that the original characters did in the TV continuity. Now, outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Spider-Man Homecoming, Donald Glover has been in a couple of films. He was in Magic Mike XXL, The Lazarus Effect, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, the Muppets movie, and those are the only movie credits he had, but he has been in a couple of TV shows such as Robot Chicken, Regular Show, Comedy Central, Comedy Central Presents, Sesame Street for an episode or so, Girls on HBO, voiced Miles Morales in the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. So I think I just, like, hot dog, I got somebody who could be my Black Mighty Morphin Ranger out of Donald Glover. Because also thinking about with the connection between him and Spider-Man, what if I made Zack like the Miles Morales Spider-Man of Black Rangers? I know that's not going to be a good idea, but roll with it because Donald Glover has a lot in common with Spider-Man, and having him as Miles Morales, even though Spider-Man Homecoming had a different total role, that being Aaron Davis, and also he's going to be in the upcoming Lion King live-action remake and the Han Solo spin-off film in the Star Wars franchise. So this is all doing so good in terms of the choices I got for these characters. Now, also, by the way, if I'm going to do Zack Taylor in reimagining for the Marshverse PRLU of MMPR, I say what Marvel character I would influence Zack, the Black Ranger, for my series? Luke Cage. I was thinking about making him like the Luke Cage of these guys. Have Zach be from Brooklyn or Harlem, and he gone through a harsh neighborhood. Have him correspond to the Marvel Comics character Power Man, aka Luke Cage, and let's see what I can go from there. The next Ranger that I have on my list, and yes, Billy, and yes, for those who probably were like, man, whatever about knowing that even though R.J. Kyler's Billy was great in the film and all that, was the best character in the reboot. But the Billy Cranston that I have for the Marchverse PRLU will be in likeness of actor Josh Hutcherson. No, actually, Josh Hutcherson. Right, okay, Hutcherson. Now, I have really been familiar with Josh Hutcherson's work. And now, I don't want to say anything, any specific about, the actor's real-life sexuality or anything, but now, I know it's going to be like, I don't want to correspond to what David Yost has already gone through in real life and what made him come out the closet. No offense, David. But I guess, for the nostalgia's sake, let's make Billy a white guy again. This time, unlike David Yost's version or R.J. Kyler's version of Billy being, stereotypical nerd of the 90s and autistic, nerd respectively, the Billy Cranston I am going to develop, it's not going to be a smarty pants nerd kind of character, because knowing the original Billy, Billy was great. David Yost was fantastic as Billy, no doubt. But I just don't want to keep him the same character again for this continuity. Instead, I want Billy to be, I guess, obsessive over technology, pretty much. Obsessed with today's technology, like smartphones, virtual reality, anything technological specific, game consoles, and it can be a complete, just completely obsessive over technology, which is his character trait. Yeah. Now, anyway, as for the actor that I chose for my version of Billy Cranston for this, Hutcherson has been in plenty of movies. I mean, the first movie I ever saw him in was, of course, Terra, with a particular Twilight actress. He was also in other movies like The Polar Express, Kicking and Screaming, American Splendor, The Kids Are All Right, Journey to the Mysterious Island, the Hunger Games franchise, the Red Dawn remake, and so on. Television credits include Line of Fire, Eddie's Father, Punk'd, Saturday Night Live, Face Off, etc. So, enough said there. I think I nailed Billy Cranston very well with the likeness, and though, again, I don't want to emulate too much from David Yost's Billy, like I said, for the other Rangers, but, as we go through them. I'll come back to Trini, because I feel that you guys are going to feel what I'm going to eviscerate about Trini. Come back to Trini later, go straight to Kimberly. Kimberly, for some reason, I really had a few actresses in mind, and based on some of the casting choices I went through and when I was closely going for some of these choices, now the Kimberly that I will develop is not going to be that same old Valley Girl gymnast, oh my god, kind of character that snooty princess, high school princess type character, because that was Amy Jo Johnson's Kimberly, and the one who's fawning always over about Tommy. I don't know, like in the original series, whether if I want Kimberly be with Tommy in the series, like as always of all the Power Rangers, because duh. I was thinking my version of Kimberly will probably correspond with Naomi Scott's version in terms of her being love interest to Jason in the new movie, because you see, I understand now if I bring Tommy into this mix, but Tommy's going to be in this first film anyway of the series anyway. I don't want to go ahead and have Tommy for a sequel, just like what people want for the sequel here, but anyway, but I was thinking about Tommy for in the first movie, and as we progress through the series, because again, I'm not adapting I'm not adapting a lot of storylines from the show, because even though I'm familiar with what happened in those shows, I need to come up with a new storyline surrounding the characters. I was thinking about for Kimberly in terms of her occupation, if she's an adult, not a teenager with attitude, quote unquote. With Anna Kendrick is a great choice for Kimberly. I could have thought of someone else, but since, you know, you had so many people come up with casting choices for people like Ashley Greene or whoever to be a Kimberly if a Mighty Morphin movie was ever made. But we already have a Mighty Morphin reboot movie, but Saban did that. So for you guys, for all those who did all those fan casts over the years for this, you know, if this was ever made, well, your wish has been fulfilled. But when you saw the reboot, you knew it was not going to be exactly what you wanted. Okay. But Anna Kendrick, I chose her as Kimberly because, well, I just don't want her, you know, if I'm going to do a new version of Kimberly Hart, it's not going to be the same Kimberly Hart from the 90s that Amy did. And again, no offense, Amy, but I don't want to emulate too much of what you did. And even with you and JDF and Tommy and all that, I don't want to copy what you did. I have to come up with a different personality for this version of Kimberly and see where I can go with that. I don't know if I want her to be a singer or an actress or whatever her occupation would be. I'll figure it out probably during the scripting process of what the film will be about. Oh, I had no idea that Anna Kendrick was in the first the Twilight movies. Oh, okay. And aside from that, was other movies like The Last 5 Years, Into the Woods, Drinking Buddies, the Pitch Perfect trilogy, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, The Accountant, Trolls, so on. Television credits include Family Guy, Saturday Night Live, just like Josh Hutcherson, and last week tonight with John Oliver, and just about those credits. But Anna Kendrick has been more in film than she was on television. But I think Anna Kendrick would make a great Kimberly Hart. Don't you agree? Because I just think she... But when I do her as Kimberly, I am not doing a lot of Amy Jo Johnson, Kimberly vibes. I mean, and now for all the Mighty Morphin fans, go ahead and get upset because I'm not emulating everything that you remember from the original series. Okay, let's go straight back to actually, let's go back let's save Trini again later. Now let's move on with Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger. I know I'm doing the characters out of order because I really do not want to, you know, people telling me that nothing can replace the original actors who played the Mighty Morphin, because I'm getting sick and tired of these kind of, I don't want to, have people step on me and tell me why you replacing, Hollywood talent if they were these characters. And knowing that a lot of them can't be like the original characters from the show, because the TV show is getting really tiresome of just only harkening back to only the TV show. Like the TV show is the only source, the Power Rangers. The Boom Studio Comics is a reliable source. All right, Tommy Oliver, everybody, the greatest Power Ranger of all time. I didn't want all those obvious choices if Tommy was ever cast. If you guys want people like, Taylor Lautner or Leo Howard and those guys for Jason, for Jason David Frank's Tommy. The Tommy Oliver Green Ranger and White Ranger that I am adapting is not going to be, it's going to be like what Jason Frank did with Tommy throughout all the Power Rangers, not just Mighty Morphin, but Zeo, Dino Thunder. I'm skipping Turbo because, he didn't do much in Turbo. Because instead, I decided for my version of Tommy Oliver, it makes sense that I got Green Arrow himself, Stephen Amell, Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, as Tommy Oliver. And knowing that since I'm a fan of Arrow, it's a great show, watch it on the CW, yeah, I know he stunk as Casey Jones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, but how would you feel of him being a Power Ranger? I mean, aside from being the Green Arrow, but you guys are going to tell me, no, Tommy, you need to find an actor who looks like Jason David Frank and have Tommy with the ponytail and some badass looking green colored clothes and make him the Green Ranger. Yeah! Guys, regardless who the character is, it's Tommy Oliver. It doesn't matter who's wearing the suit as long it's the character. But you got to understand, I need to think of who I think should be Tommy or Jason or Kimberly or Billy, whoever. It doesn't matter who I cast as these characters, and as I go through all the other seasons, I'm going to do what I must with these characters. And trust me, I will. So yeah, Stephen Amell, I'm banking on it because, you know, it makes a lot of sense that, you know, come to think of it, when you watch Arrow, especially season 1 of Arrow, like season 1 of Power Rangers, season 1 of Arrow is okay. When you just think about the Green Arrow's alter ego of Oliver Queen, if you go by his first name and combine it with the first name of Laurel's boyfriend from season 1, Tommy, you take those two names combined together, and what Power Rangers reference do you get out of that show? Laurel's boyfriend named Tommy, who died at the end of season 1, and Green Arrow's alter ego, Oliver Queen, with his first name just being Oliver, and if you take those two names together, and what do you get? Tommy Mother Oliver. The Green Ranger, White Ranger, Red Ranger, etc. And I just thought I think Stephen Amell, in my opinion, would be a good Tommy, but here's how I'm going to do Tommy in my way. I know Jason David Frank, JDF, I love you. I like your Tommy. I always will. But the thing is, I want to do a new take on Tommy. Even though I'm going to take some references to what he did, like, you know, Tommy losing his Green Ranger powers, became the White Ranger. I don't know if I'm going to have him around for, like, Dino Thunder as the Black Ranger being Dr. Oliver, Dr. Tommy Oliver, teaching a new team of Rangers. If I ever do a Dino Thunder movie, fan casting these actors, again, fan casting fantasy guys. And if he was, had Connor, Ethan, and Kira, and Red Zeo. Now, and also, speaking of which, it would make sense for the Power Ranger Zeo cast, well, when we get to it, that Stephen Amell is from Canada. Now, when I did some research, if I ever had him, if he was to be still Tommy in my fan cast, I would still have him for the Red Zeo Ranger, because Canada, there is a Canadian star existing. Now, I understand JDF's Tommy is of Native American roots, as implied since Power Ranger Zeo in the TV show universe. And my version of Power Ranger Zeo, if I ever do Power Ranger Zeo, my Stephen Amell likeness based Tommy Oliver will be the Red Zeo Ranger if Tommy was actually from Canada, somewhere in his native Canada somewhere. Would that really make sense? In a way how I would reimagine Zeo. I'll get the Zeo in a moment. But right now, focusing on Mighty Morphin characters. So yeah, what do you guys think about having the Green Arrow himself if he was the Green and White Ranger? You're going to tell me, no, he's not a good idea. Get someone who actually fits JDF's image for Tommy, and that's final. Guys, what did I told you? And I'm like, look, what did I tell you? I don't want the characters to be like what they were on the show. Remember, when I mean rebooting and reimagining the world of Power Rangers, I mean reimagining the characters, the feel, the atmosphere of the world, to everything. Yes, Angel Grove will be whatever it was, but it's going to be totally different from what it was from the show. Because the show is not the only source. We need to think of other ways to expand the mythos and the legend of Power Rangers. I know, I've been going on for hours now, guys. All right. Let's go to Trini. I've been waiting for this one because you guys are going to get ready to feel eviscerated for what I'm going to do about Trini. And you guys are going to complain. And I don't care if you do complain, but deal with this choice. So, thinking of the fact that Trini in the TV show by the late Tui Trang is the only Yellow Ranger in Power Rangers over the last 25 years to be played by an Asian woman, Vietnamese woman. So in the Marshverse version, PRLU version, everyone except Trini looks exactly what the original characters were, except her, who is of Latina Mexican descent. There's one thing really. Becky G, who played Trini in Saban's Power Rangers reboot film from early this year, is Latina. Now, it would make sense that if you look back in that unaired Day of the Dumpster pilot, for those who have seen it, Audrey Dubois, Trini, who played Trini in the unaired pilot, is Mexican. So what's wrong? I can't make Trini, the original Yellow Ranger, the Saber-Tooth Tiger, played by a Mexican woman. What's wrong with that? Now, I know in my standalone Lost Galaxy movies, I haven't had no diverse representation of people who are Mexican and of the Latina demographic and Asian and all that. But you got to understand, for this series, I really want Trini in my version. I know Trini didn't have that much of a character in the show. Maybe I'll probably give her a character. That depends on how much I read about Trini, because really, Trini has not, and I mean has not, had a character that much in the series. Now, bear in mind, Trini has not had character development. All we know is she had what was it? She had, oh god, Trini. She had this little small thing about Richie in season 2, and that's it. And aside from in season 1, the technobabble translations for Billy in all of season 1, but by the time she left in the show, that again, that's TV show continuity. Now, Trini, I don't know what to do with her character. Now, admittedly, she is the greatest Yellow Ranger ever, well, based on the fact that Tui Trang I'm sorry, I know she is the greatest, but I don't know whether if I want Trini to have that a character, but I really don't know, really. All right, but anyway, so I chose a Disney Channel actress, a former Disney actress, Demi Lovato. You see, Demi Lovato, she has a huge track record based on what I'm reading from her Wikipedia article. There's like a lot about her that I do want to know and don't want to know, because it's just, her Wikipedia article is a mouthful. I'm not going through so full of it. Okay, so what I would do, based on, according from Wikipedia article, that according to her beliefs and personal life, she is an activist for gay rights and a feminist, but mostly gay. Now, I would say in my version, I would say like Becky G's version. Now, you guys are probably gonna rip on me making Trini a lesbian like Becky G's version. Go ahead, sue me. I don't care. So for the Martiverse MMPR reboot, I'm gonna make Trini LGBT. Go ahead, sue me. And tell me why the hell am I made Trini lesbian like Becky G's version. Go ahead, sue me, because Trini never really had a character in the show. I mean, she all she was BFFs to Kimberly until her departure. Translated Billy's technobabble until her departure. Blah blah blah. Martial arts, environmentalist, hippie. Basically, Trini just didn't have much of a character, so she's just going to be there. Just there. You see, here's the thing with Yellow Rangers and Power Rangers. They always get the biggest crap on the stick. And I don't like that. All right. Lovato, what she's been in, what motivated me to cast her. She was in television shows like Grey's Anatomy, Punk'd, America's Next Top Model, Camp Rock, Just Jordan, As the Bell Rings, Prison Break, Barney and Friends. What? Movies like Smurfs: The Lost Village and Jonas Brothers: The 3D Concert Experience. And not that much about her, but I'll go with Demi Lovato anyway. And yeah, if you guys have a problem with me making Trini an LGBT character like Becky G's version in Saban's movie, go ahead, sue me having a LGBT Ranger in a Power Rangers fan film. And knowing to the fact, if I want to make Trini gay in my fan film, I'll make Trini gay. Now, she's not gonna. I don't want to have her have a relationship with Kimberly. I guess I'll probably make Trini bisexual instead of lesbian, and make her fall in love. Well, not fall in love with any of her Ranger mates, but I mean like outside of her friends, her Ranger team, have her have a relationship with any random girl on the street in Angel Grove, or a guy in Angel Grove as bisexual or whatever. All right, let's talk about villains. For MMPR. Now, like I said about Rita earlier last podcast episode. Now, I really was looking forward for some actresses that I thought would be the Rita Repulsa I would do in the Martiverse, because knowing me with actor likenesses and the puppets and stuff, when I do the puppets of these characters, you see. Now, this is also coming for the fact I will go see Thor Ragnarok next Friday, but I was thinking for my Rita Repulsa. And it's not going to be based on the 90s version that we know that's always complaining about having, I have a headache, ha ha ha. No, not that Rita. We're not having that one. I was thinking Cate Blanchett as Rita Repulsa, Empress of All Evil. Now, the Rita Repulsa I'm going to adapt is not going to be always that same version that we all are familiar with. You see, considering that Cate Blanchett is in Thor Ragnarok as Hela, a Marvel Comics a villain in the Marvel Universe, a female villainess in the Marvel Universe. Maybe once when I leave the theater after seeing Thor Ragnarok, I will probably base my Rita off of Hela, pretty much. I don't know about adapting any elements of Elizabeth Banks' Rita from the 2017 movie, but probably adapt some story leverage from her Boom Studios comic counterpart here and there. I've always had a thing for Cate Blanchett as an actress. She's great, but I just, for some reason, you see, out of all the actresses that I would have fan casted for characters in Power Rangers for fan films or movies, reboot movies, I just overly glossed Cate Blanchett for any role if she was a Power Rangers character, Power Rangers villain. Like, have her as like the movie exclusive character Dulcia or Demetria from Turbo or whoever. But I think Cate Blanchett would be Rita, and I guess she would fit the part. Now, she has been in numerous amount of movies. It's an endless list. Movies like The Gift, the Lord of the Rings series. Oh my gosh, she's in a whole bunch of movies, man. I can't go on with her filmography that longer. I don't want to waste time talking about Cate Blanchett. Great actress choice. I hope I come up with something that would scream her. If she were to play Rita Repulsa. Okay, but let's go straight to Lord Zed. Lord Zed, okay. For many times I've looked up fan castings by any fan who is so nostalgia blind and nostalgia sick for MMPR. If a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie was ever made based on the show, not based on what Saban gave us that a lot of people were lukewarmed about. I know for many years, if Hugo Weaving was some people's choice for Lord Zed, if a Mighty Morphin movie was ever made, I guess we'll probably go with Hugo Weaving by me once more as Lord Zed, the voice of Lord Zed. Weaving has been in numerous amount of big movies. The Matrix franchise, the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit franchises, V for Vendetta. He was Red Skull in Captain America, the first Avenger, so this is my first big-blown MCU villain actor in a Power Rangers anything here, and just about almost everywhere. And also, if Cate Blanchett is a British actress chosen for Rita, the Lord Zed, the actor I picked for Lord Zed here, is also in inspiration by a British actor like Hugo Weaving. And of course, he was also the voice of Megatron in the Michael Bay Transformers films. And he's been in a lot. So I chose Hugo Weaving as my choice for Lord Zed. Okay, Goldar is going to be that much of quite a challenge here, since now when I initially did the casting, the fan casting choices for Goldar, I only went for someone from the WWE for Goldar, Rita's right-hand man. I was unsure whether I wanted Booker. Well, see, choosing Booker T, knowing Booker T has never acted, only wrestled. So yeah, my boo-boo there when I did the original casting calls there. As for what's another WWE superstar working in Hollywood that I could think of to be Goldar? Now, some people would tell me I should have gotten Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for Goldar, But actually, I think Dave Bautista would fit Goldar just fine based on what I did with these casting calls here. Because Dave Bautista, or Bautista, pretty much, would be a brilliant choice for Goldar in terms of the likeness of his character. And I just think he fits. And, well, personally, now back to Lord Zed, though, but Lord Zed, I should have went with someone like let's say Kelsey Grammer for Lord Zed, or I know many people would wish Willem Dafoe would be Lord Zed. God, this is a lot. I mean, there's a lot of choices to pick for these characters and actors, and wishing that these would be the characters, but man, I'm just like freaking messing up, you know? And really, but Bautista, great choice for, you know, my choice. He's my choice for Goldar in likeness. I don't know about putting him in all that gold armor, if I would imagine him, because it makes sense that if he was so great as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, maybe he could do well as a Power Rangers villain. What do you think of that, WWE fans and Marvel Cinematic Universe fans? Let me know in the comments about that. Scorpina is a very obscure character. The reason why I want to represent Scorpina in these movies, in these upcoming movies I'm going to work on, there hasn't been anybody I would think of that would be, you know, in likeness for Scorpina. Now, unlike Rita, who I have, if she were to be played by a British woman, UK woman, I wanted Rita to not be, you know, to be, you know, played by an Asian woman, but Scorpina played by an Asian woman. And people are going to have a serious problem. Why is Rita a white woman and not, why Scorpina is an Asian woman but not Rita? And why is she played by, if she were to be played by a white woman? So don't argue with me about these casting decisions, what I have. And I know some people are going to tell me that's whitewashing. You're supposed to have Rita played by an Asian or a Latina woman like she was on the show. Don't change crap. You know, I am getting really sick and tired of all of this nostalgia for MMPR. That's why I did what I did, changing up, you know, some of the casting choices. But even though some of the casting choices are just as accurate to how the characters were on the show, but they don't have to be exactly like the characters from the show, can they? Even though they have to be, because based on people's nostalgia and childhood memories, much like my memories, some tells me I'm probably ruining my own childhood nostalgia watching Power Rangers, changing up stuff that may feel like I'm going to be uncomfortable seeing, you know, actors playing other characters. And even the actors that worked on Power Rangers themselves will probably, well, what do I know? I have never even met none of the actors from the show, but I wish, and told them how would they feel if they saw these Hollywood actors and stuff playing these characters. Now, the actress that I picked for Scorpina in this, I'm trying to trace down. I saw this actress off of Transformers Age of Extinction. She was alongside, I think, Stanley Tucci's character. She was an agent in Hong Kong or something. And I saw her. I was looking her up. I gotta go back. I gotta go way back into the series to Transformers, where she came from. She was in a bunch of Chinese film as well. And I forgot her name. She was in Age of Extinction. Got to go way back a bit to the cast of Age of Extinction here, according to Wikipedia. I think it was Li Bingbing. I think that was her name, the actress. Li Bingbing. Let me see. Yep, Li Bingbing as Scorpina. How did you think about that casting, guys? And you know, I really would love to see now. When I do all of these Mighty Morphin films, I want to see which installment should I have Scorpina in, and not cram all these characters out at once. I need to give these movies of MMPR some space to who will be main villain of what and what movie, so I can see what makes sense. Because I think Li Bingbing Li, that's her name. I would have her as being an Age of Scorpina, and yeah, she would be a great choice for Scorpina. Rito Revolto, I chose for Rito Paul Rudd. You may know from a bunch of comedies, including a particular character from the Marvel Cinematic Universe like Ant-Man. So I chose him as, Rito Revolto, the voice of Rito, because I wanted to keep the charm of what made Rito such an interesting character, interesting villain for the villains, being Rito's brother, and goofball, skeleton goofball, and all that. So Paul Rudd would fit for Rito, and there's that. Okay. I'm not quite sure if this is going to make any kind of sense, but from someone from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie continuity from 1995, how would you feel having Ivan Ooze considered now canon in the Power Rangers of all the lore of the mythos of the franchise? Well, knowing Ivan Ooze was only exclusive to Fox, and so was the character of Dulcia. But I have seen the Zordon of Eltar saying that they did pull off adapting Dulcia in that fan film. Go check out Zordon of Eltar and you'll see my point. Now, how would I feel adapting Ivan Ooze in these movies? Now, Ivan Ooze is only exclusive to the original movie continuity. 20th Century Fox, go ahead, sue me. If I can't use Ivan Ooze, and I'll just scratch him out, because, I'm still never going to get over what they did when they took down my original retrospective video about the first Power Rangers movie 2 years ago for the 20th anniversary. And I know not many people talked and commented about what I said in retrospective of the movie, but, God. Yeah, Oscar Isaac, it makes a lot of sense. I have an actor who was in the recent X-Men movie from last year that I haven't seen yet, X-Men Apocalypse. And of all the jokes made about Apocalypse and X-Men Apocalypse looking like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers, why do we keep getting this nostalgia of Mighty Morphin clouding people's judgment? Oscar Isaac. I mean, people are going to tell me, nah, you shouldn't really get Oscar Isaac to be the new Ivan Ooze, knowing his Apocalypse and X-Men Apocalypse already looks like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers in X-Men already. Ain't no point. It'll be pointless having him as another purple colored character. In some shades of Apocalypse and X-Men Apocalypse looks mostly blue, but in some shades of some of the lighting in that movie, if you can tell, he looks purple in some shades, but that doesn't mean he looks like Ivan Ooze. Yeah, sure, based on the prosthetic makeup and stuff, just because he looks like Ivan Ooze doesn't mean he looks like Ivan Ooze. So what? I mean, okay, if I can't have him as Ivan Ooze, who can't? Seriously. All right. One more big bad notable from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Master Vile. Now, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this arc of the Mighty Morphin films for the PRLU. Man, how am I going to do this? Like, movie 1 will be Rita and Goldar. Movie 2 would be Scorpina or something. Movie 3 would be Lord Zed. Movie 4 would be probably Ivan Ooze. Movie 5 is Master Vile or something. Whatever, I'll figure it out. Now this elderly man actor, if he were the voice of Master Vile, I'm trying to find. Now I had a picture of him on my database here somewhere. Name was attached to the chain, and I'm trying to see who it was. I can't say. I forgot his name, but he escapes me, and it's got to be some actor's dad, also an actor. Forgot his name. He would be Master Vile, or I could have gotten someone like James Earl Jones as Master Vile, I guess. Well, regardless, but his name escapes me at the moment. So if you guys know his name by now, let me know in the comments down below. He was in something, but I forgot his name. But I'll come back to him another time later. And finally, now, like I said about these movies adapting the Boom Studio continuity, I was thinking, instead of having Stephen Amell, Tommy having multiple Ranger roles, what if... This is going to be hard. Let's see. I was thinking for Lord Drakon from the Boom Studio comics. Now, my original choice, now I want Lord Draken, although he is an alternate universe version of Tommy if he was evil again, this time with the combination of his design being based off the Green and White Rangers, because Lord Draken's costume and design is pretty awesome. Thanks Boom Studios for coming up with that kind of character for that continuity of comics for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I was thinking Lord Draken should be separate from, my version of Lord Draken should be separate from the Stephen Amell faced Tommy, and have, if Lord Draken was to be played by Iron Man, Tony Stark himself, Robert Downey Jr. And I know it's going to be a stupid idea casting Tony Stark as Lord Draken, but I was thinking about it, or I just have Lord Draken, well, he can just be the voice of Lord Draken, but once he takes his helmet off, we see that we have the face of my version of Tommy, if he were to be played by Stephen Amell, take the helmet off, and he's already evil as Lord Draken. But when he takes the helmet back on, he's voiced by Robert Downey Jr., but it's going to be crappy, dubbing. So, yeah, that's it for the Rangers and villains for MMPR. But as for Zordon and Alpha, now, as for the superfluous Ranger and such allied villain characters, in my version of MMPR, since I'm not adapting everything from the show in terms of lore, I don't know how I feel adapting Bulk and Skull, knowing I like their characters from the show. I don't want to have that many characters just because it has to fit the lore of Power Rangers, the TV show. These movies are not in the same universe as the show again. Anyway, Bulk and Skull are not going to be in this. Ernie's not going to be in it. Mr. Kaplan's not going to be in it. Possibly Lieutenant Stone, maybe for like a cameo, probably. I was thinking John Cena's Lieutenant Stone, because John Cena, he's a military Marine wannabe guy, so I guess John Cena is Lieutenant Stone. If you're not going, even if I'm not going to have Bulk and Skull, then yeah, imagine John Cena, Lieutenant Stone. Squat and Babu and Finster for the villains, they're not going to be in this. Sorry. I only want to go for characters that are more important to the series. All right, for Alpha, before I get to who I think should be Zordon. Alpha. For Alpha 5, I don't want to do that. If I ever get someone to sound like, do Alpha, I don't want Alpha to sound like Richard Steven Horvitz's Alpha, who was all high-pitched and stuff and doing that kind of thing. I was thinking for someone to sound like, because I was very fond of Bill Hader's Alpha in the new movie recently. So for someone of comedic talent to be Alpha, I was thinking Ben Feldman from a few TV shows I've seen him in as the voice of Alpha. Now, Ben Feldman, you may have heard of this guy recently. I've only seen him in a few things. I've seen him in a few episodes of Mad Men. He has this new show on NBC. I think Superstar, was it? Superstar, I think. And, well, what really got my attention was he was with opposite Kristen Milioti on the short-lived NBC show A to Z. Yeah, for those who, heard me say that, if you forgot about it by now, he was on that with the mother herself from How I Met Your Mother on that short-lived show from 3 years ago. So, yeah, Ben Feldman, I would choose him as the voice of Alpha. If he were the voice of Alpha, but all right, we'll go with that. Now, Zordon, out of all the characters of MMPR for representation. Now, for those who saw my Facebook, now this is an image from my personal Facebook profile, my profile image currently on Facebook. How would you feel if I were to be Zordon? Because, I mean, you guys have seen a couple of videos where I have sounded like Zordon a few times before, but I had no idea that, there will be an option on Facebook, because Facebook knows that I'm a Power Rangers fan, and they figured there's a great, photo filter of something related to Power Rangers, and I can insert my image with the Power Rangers in Zordon's tube, and I would be Zordon. I mean, but I would love to be Zordon personally, but realizing based on what the harp I'd done in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy: The Rise of Shakina, self-inserting myself as a ranger back when I was age 18, when I was 18 years old, 19 years old, I don't know how I feel putting myself on screen again for the first time in so long, and I'm like, yeah, I would love to be Zordon, but because you guys heard me say, Rangers, come to the command center, it's urgent. Rita and Lord Zed send a new monster, something like that, kind of thing like that. May the power protect you. Tommy, the other Rangers need your help. And stuff like that. Okay, yeah. I can see if I was Zordon, but I'm cutting myself out of the equation. Actually, the Zordon that I would have stuck with for this, since I'm only doing Hollywood actors, again, I myself am not Hollywood talent. I'm just a fan of actors in Hollywood and movies and a fan of Power Rangers and stuff, okay? So I think for Zordon, my version of Zordon, now Bryan Cranston was great in Saban's movie. And I know you're going to tell me nothing can replace David Fielding as Zordon. No offense, David. How would you like it if I fan casted Michael Fassbender, another actor from X-Men, modern X-Men movie lore, as Zordon? All you can just do is have Michael Fassbender, have his, head shaved, and bam, he's Zordon. But my Zordon, unlike in the TV show and all of what we know of him, I don't think I want Zordon to be that floating head in the giant tube like all the time. I'll have plans of where I want to replace Zordon somewhere in the command center if I were to reimagine the look of the command center for Zordon. For one thing, I don't want him as a floating head in a giant, floating giant head in the tube, because that was so the 90s. Well, I only want to go for main characters that I had picked for the fan castings. Let's go straight to Power Rangers Zeo. Like I said before, let's go back to Stephen Amell again if he were Tommy. Like I said about the Canadian star thing, since the actor is Canadian, let's go straight with Tommy again. Okay, for Zeo, I would have if I were to have Stephen Amell's likeness as Tommy again, he would be the Red Zeo Ranger for a Zeo movie. I'm going to see how I'm going to transition from Mighty Morphin to Zeo through the movies. But again, the movies are going to be made out of sequence in terms of order, because you may never know what will ever happen to the actors if some of the actors in real life actually died or stopped acting because of whatever, or some actors went to prison or whatever. So that's why I have to do these movies as quick as possible. Okay, so yeah, aside from Stephen Amell, if he ever was Tommy Oliver as the Red Zeo Ranger for a Zeo movie, well, there were plans in the previous video for this that I didn't think I want Tommy in the same group shots for Zeo, Turbo, and Dino Thunder, along with the Mighty Morphin groups. So it's going to be likely I'll probably have Tommy, but of course, how am I going to complete the Zeo team if there is no Tommy as the Red Ranger? So I got to have Tommy as Zeo Ranger 5 somewhere. And I'll probably come up with a way, for my Zeo movies of the Marshverse and PRLU, what if Tommy, after, let's say at the end of the Mighty Morphin story arcs that I've done for him, instead of doing the way how the Zeo quest was done on the show with the Alien Rangers, the Rangers of Aquitar, Rangers as kids, what I was thinking, the way how I would have transitioned from Mighty Morphin to Zeo, my way was after the Mighty Morphin Rangers were disbanded, all of their powers and Zords were gone by Rita and Zed, Machine Empire slowly arises and peaks in, with Jason, Kimberly, Zach, and all of them gone. Tommy would be the only Ranger of the original still left standing. And with his powers of the Green and White Ranger gone, now I would say for the Mighty Morphin movies, instead of having the Ninja Zords and stuff like in the show, because I think the Ninja Zords the Ninja Zords are great, but they're just not as popular as the Dino Zords and the Thunder Zords, sadly. Although I like the Ninja Zords, but adapting the Ninja Zord stuff, if I got Rita Revolto and Master Vile, who, by the way, are both villains from Kaku Ranger, it's going to be hard to see Jason, Trini, and Zach have the Ape, Frog, and Bear Zord, since, well, I don't want to do like what happened on the show again, having Rocky, Adam, and Aisha around with Kimberly, Tommy, and Billy, like on the show and the original movie, but I was thinking, I don't think I want the Ninja Zords. I would love to have the Ninja Megazord involved in one of my Mighty Morphin films, but I was thinking, no. just go straight to Zeo. Well, I'll have the Ninja Zords like on autopilot. Oh yeah, I know I skipped Ninjor, but scrap. But again, this video is predated before I did any scripts or what I would have planned before I do the actual fan films of this itself. All right, let's go into who I think should be Adam, Tanya, Kat, and Rocky for the movies. I picked some choices, actor choices, and see who I went with. Okay, I'll start with Adam first, since he was very difficult to pick overnight before I did this video. All right, so for Adam, the Green Zeo Ranger. Now in my continuity, Rocky and Adam were not part of the Mighty Morphin team. Because you know how nostalgia is, where you got people who are only fans of season 1 of Power Rangers and only Mighty Morphin only and all that. They only see the original 6 with Jason, Trini, Zach, Kimberly, Tommy, and Billy all the time. They never do see the later team formations with Team 2 being Tommy, Kimberly, Billy, with Rocky, Adam, and Aisha for Season 2, or Season 3 with the same group, but later replaced Kimberly, and you got Catherine in the group for the final group formation of MMPR. So I was thinking, since due to the fact that a lot of people don't really like those formations, even though Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, and Kat, yeah, they were fine characters for the time, but they just didn't have much to do in terms of characters, but their personalities is what kept the team strong, regardless of, well, even though they were great fighters and all, but they were pretty good. But of course, on the TV show in Zeo, Rocky, Adam, and Kat actually had characters, but when Tanya was brought onto the show, she hardly had anything. Like Aisha and Trini before her, but Tanya, we'll get to who I got for Tanya, by the way, trust me. And yes, the Zeo cast is just as accurate from what we known from the casting durations of JDF, Catherine Sutherland, Johnny Young, Bosch, etc. them. So, all right. But since, well, when I was having a hard time who I would pick for Adam if he were the second Black Ranger, Green Zeo, and Turbo Ranger, I went with the actor who's currently the Flash in the DCEU, if ever this is a good choice or not. Urza, if I get this name right, Ezra Miller. Is that his name? Ezra Miller, who's the Flash Barry Allen in Justice League coming up and all of the DCEU. Yeah, I was thinking Ezra Miller would be Adam Park, the Green Zeo Ranger 4. I haven't seen anything in him in anything on television and film with him in it lately. Let me know what he was in. But since I couldn't think of a good actor that would be like, my version of, Johnny Young Bosch's Adam, I'll just come up with a different take on Adam and his character. Now, let's see where that goes. Rocky. All right, Rocky. As much as people didn't like him as the Red Ranger when Jason left, but he was better as the Blue Ranger in Zeo, but even though sucks he wasn't around for Turbo. Now, if I were to reboot Turbo, I would have Rocky still be the Blue Ranger, and Justin was just not part of the team. Nah, actually, as a matter of fact, Justin should be the Blues Turbo Ranger, and I don't know how I feel having duplicate teams of some of the following Rangers in those group shots there. For Rocky as Zeo Ranger 3 Blue, I got at first I think it looks like Logan Lerman, but no, actually that's Dylan O'Brien. All right, so Dylan O'Brien would be my fan casting choice for Rocky, the Blue Ranger, former Red Ranger. I mean, yeah, sure, we had James Vanderbeek in that Power / Rangers short film, non-fan film again, but unlike in Power / Rangers, Rocky is at least a good guy. Not like, good guy turned bad guy, good Ranger gone bad, turned, turned to the side of the Machine Empire to kill the Rangers thing. That was in that piece of shit short film. I know I've been talking about Power / Rangers to death, but it's just I can't never get over that with James Vanderbeek playing an evil Rocky. Seriously. Like, I mean, for those who have not seen episodes devoted to him, like Rocky Just Wants to Have Fun, Rocky was never that a bad character. He was a decent guy. For all the harps of things that was questionable and grating of him, he was still a decent guy. No less. So, how is he a bad guy? So yeah, Dylan O'Brien will be my version of Rocky. You know, he's familiar for being in films like American Assassin, the Teen Wolf television series, the Maze Runner series, and so on. So I think I pretty much picked as someone who I think should be the next Rocky. And, you know, may not be as good as Steve Cardenas as Rocky, but definitely, in my opinion, would be, in my pick, better than James Vanderbeek's Rocky from Power/Rangers. For the lesser-known any of the following lesser-known Yellow Rangers, but though decent fan favorite one, for Tanya, I had a hard time finding an actress, a black woman, to play Tanya, and it was going to be pretty hard. It was going to be a little bit difficult. Oh yeah, I had no idea that the following actress that I chose for her in likeness for Tanya, if I ever adapted her character, Nafessa Williams. She has been in a couple of television shows like the Twin Peaks reboot, Black Lightning, the upcoming CW show. So pretty much like throughout this video as we go through, and I know you guys are going to doze off through some of the choices, and I know I edited some of the following updates because there's an extended cut of this podcast coming very soon. So I had to cut down to get to the main beef of the video. So Nafessa Williams, I would choose her to be Tanya, the yellow Zeo Ranger, even though yellow Turbo Ranger. Now, I was trying to make it a little accurate to how I've seen Nakia Burress, who played Tanya on Zeo and Turbo. So I don't know what kind of reimagined personality I would give Tanya, much like the rest coming up with Rocky and Adam. But however, now Aisha, the Yellow Ranger that seceded for Tanya for Zeo and Turbo. Now, about Aisha's whereabouts. Now, again, these films are not in continuity with the show, but Aisha. Now, no offense to Karen Ashley, I liked Aisha for who she was. It's just the sad truth was she was just underdeveloped. So Aisha is like nowhere in the series at all. I don't know. Pretty much she's not in the series. Because again, I'm going to pretty much focus on most of the movies for MMPR, focus on the original 6, with some of the following movies with Tommy's the White Ranger, where they fight Rita Zed and all the other different villains in Lord Draken. And there will be and then the final movie will be an all-out battle. So, yeah, Nafessa Williams will be my choice for Tanya for the PRLU. See where that goes. For Kat, okay, this is going to be a bit of a daunting problem, guys. Oh, my God. Oh, God. One of my favorite Pink Rangers, and then imagining an actress who is probably Australian or British, if she were to be, be more accurate to the cast of the show a little bit, but don't have them exactly like the same characters. Now, Kat or Catherine, in other words, this is going to be this is where we get to a bit of a problem with Kat here, for my reimagining of her character. In terms of the casting choice I picked for her, oh God, where do I begin with this one? I've had my gripes with this actress, and oh my God, it's kind of baffling, really. And I was thinking, why did I pick this one for Kat? Why can I get someone else? Because it's really pedantic that picking someone, an actress that I may not liked in a particular franchise film, which by the way sucked 8 years ago, and then putting her in the role of a Power Ranger. Just why? I mean, just like freaking why? Okay, so for this choice, I mean, yes, guys. I mean, basically, for my version of Zeo Ranger 1, Pink, Catherine, I chose Sienna Miller, who you may know from Factory Girl, The Lost World of Z, Alfie, Layer Cake, and of course, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, if she was Kat the Pink Zeo Turbo Ranger, even though she was all 3 Pink Rangers in the show. But in my continuity, I would just have Kat as the Pink Zeo Ranger. Now, I've had my gripes with Sienna Miller in the past, but, I can't keep holding a grudge against the actress when I never even met her in real life or other actors really based on these castings, fan castings. You see, I know that when, thinking back to all those past old interviews, she had old interviews about, what she said about her time working on G.I. Joe as the Baroness. I guess I have to open up to the fact that she was right about, the way how she was, when she was doing those fight scenes in G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. I mean, I know Sienna, she's as much as I had bad gripes with her as an actress playing a particular G.I. Joe character, but a Cobra character in G.I. Joe, but she is still a decent actress, even though she can be a stone, empty, vapid bitch at times, even when not in character, or in character. But that's Sienna Miller for you in a nutshell. Now, I know people are probably going, she's, I had a crush her. Okay. Be honest though, in high school, back when G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra was coming out the following year, I did have a crush on Sienna Miller in 2008, but by 2009 when G.I. Joe was coming out, as soon as when I heard that Rise of Cobra sucked, and then many years coming, and then when I did a rant about it, and then it's like, then I'm like, I hate Sienna Miller. And then when I look back on her performance of the Baroness, I'm like, is this what the character was in the cartoon and the comics that people who grew up with that crap was familiar with? Being ex-girlfriend brainwashed of Dukes and shit in the movie. Again, I can't hold a grudge against G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. The movie's been out for 8 years now. It's long ago. It feels like it's been ages. I need to find a different, if Sienna Miller was the return for another blockbuster franchise, if she doesn't become a stone cold bitch about it, maybe she would be acceptable if she was a character in the Marvel universe, or the DC Extended Universe, or heck, even in a Power Rangers movie, or something. Yeah, I had to choose Sienna Miller if she was the Pink Ranger, Cat from Zeo, Turbo, and last of Mighty Morphin, but, even though Catherine Sutherland, debatable there. Because, again, yeah, even though in the TV show, Catherine is Australian. In my version, she's played by a British actress, close enough to Australian. It would have kind of made sense. Now for Jason. Now it makes sense in Zeo that Jason was the Gold Ranger, but there were two actors I would pick for the Gold Ranger in Zeo. For Trey Triforia, since I couldn't think of a good actor for him. Again, this guy, I had his name down at some point. I was Googling his name up. Locked him up locked on target for him as the Gold Ranger for the series, but sadly I never got his name. But anyway, go to Jason if he was the Gold Ranger. Bring back Garrett Hedlund as the Gold Ranger from one of the Zeo movies, and there you go, guys. And bam, there's your reimagined Power Rangers Zeo reboot by yours truly. Now let's think about the Machine Empire. Now, as I go through some of the villain choices, some of the villains are not going to resemble their original characters. Now, when I do the Machine Empire, if I ever do the Machine Empire, led by King Mondo and his Royal House of Gadgetry, I was thinking the Machine Empire shouldn't look like what they were in the show, because, yeah, it was for the time based on the Sentai footage that they were from, that being O-Ranger. But I was thinking Michael Shannon, as General Zod in Man of Steel, should be the voice of King Mondo. Or if for anyone's fan casting for MMPR, have Michael Shannon as the voice of Lord Zed. But I would go with King Mondo. Because now Michael Shannon, I've heard about this guy a couple of times, but the only movie I've seen him in that I thought he was great at, aside from the "I will find him" part in Man of Steel. Yeah, I'm just yelling just to demonstrate, just trying to, get some sense of what he said. And, Michael Shannon, as General Zod. And really, I've seen Man of Steel is a great Superman movie. Though it has plenty of flaws and plot holes, that is just questionable to talk about, obviously. But Michael Shannon, I think he would be a great King Mondo. And considering General Zod, King Mondo, if General Zod was someone of the Machine Empire. I mean, just think about it, guys. I mean, with this casting, if a Power Rangers ZL movie reboot was ever made, this is who I would pick for King Mondo. Or if somebody got anyone better, we'll go with that. Shannon's credits include 8 Mile, Kangaroo Jack, Pearl Harbor, Michael Bay movie, by the way, Pearl Harbor, Jesus' Son, Dead Birds, Bug, World Trade Center, Let's Go to Prison, Blackbird, Lucky You, Revolutionary Road, and so on. And on opposite of Shannon, if he was the voice of King Mondo, I chose for Queen Machina, and this is going to be quite questionable. For Queen Machina, I went with Noomi Rapace. Yeah, you're probably wondering, Noomi Rapace as Queen Machina. Really? I mean, Noomi Rapace, the girl with the dragon tattoo, who was also in Prometheus and several other films that she was in. Oh yeah, and the Sherlock Holmes sequel that didn't have a third movie to follow up from afterwards. Yeah, Noomi Rapace. You know, around this time 5 years ago when I started crushing on actresses like Katie Cassidy and stuff, from when I was doing my standalone Power Rangers Lost Galaxy movies, Noomi Rapace was one of my favorite actresses at the time, and knowing that Noomi Rapace was in Prometheus at the time, and you know it's been 5 years since that movie came out, prequel to Alien, that Ridley Scott did 5 years ago. That came out the same summer as The Dark Knight Rises and stuff, Avengers, and I think Noomi Rapace would be a great, you know, if she was a great likeness and voice for Queen Machina, Mondo's his wife. Even though Machina didn't do anything in the show, but or just how about we just do Power Rangers Zeo, where the Machine Empire just has King Mondo and all of his family members like Clank and Orbis and Sprocket, Archerina and Gasket, and his wife wasn't in the films. But no, you gotta have all of those part of the so-called Machine Empire in the Power Rangers Zeo film. And I had no idea that Alex Borstein, who you may know currently as the voice of Lois Griffin on Family Guy, would be the voice of Queen Machina in Power Rangers in Zeo, but also before that in Mighty Morphin in the Peace, Love, and Woe episode as the voice of Madame Woe. I'm like, well, I guess Noomi Rapace would fit for, you know, a rebooted Queen Machina. Now I don't. Now as of this time, I don't have any good casting choices. If I have anybody to do the voices of Prince Sprocket or Prince Gasket and Princess Archerina, Clank and Orbis, Louis Kaboom, those are going to be null and voided for the time being right now. So I can't think of no good actor choices for the rest of the Machine Empire. All right, let's go straight to Power Rangers Turbo for some of the fan casting choices there. That I got. So for Turbo, well, right now I don't have anyone for TJ, Cassie, Ashley, and Carl. Well, actually, I was thinking for my rebooted version of Turbo, instead of having duplicates of TJ and Tommy and their respective teams in the Turbo film reboot films of Turbo, maybe what I should do is have Justin with a new team of people to be the next Turbo Rangers in this continuity. Remember, whatever characters I'll have for this new rebooted version of Turbo, excuse me, those will be not in correlation to who is already the Space Rangers that were previously the Turbo Rangers. Or actually have TJ, Cassie, Ashley, and Carlos with Justin for the Turbo reboot. And or just have Justin with somebody, you know, like new people as the Turbo Rangers filling the red, pink, yellow, and green slots. Or, well, of course, there's the Robot Ranger option, making robot duplicates of TJ, Cassie, Ashley, and Carlos if the real TJ, Cassie, Ashley, and Carlos are in Space Rangers with Andros up in space. Or, I don't know, or probably just skip Turbo altogether, I guess, since I can't do every single thing from the series, besides like bring up a few characters from those eras. you know, I had a hard time for casting Justin, the Blue Ranger from Turbo. You see, now, at the time, Blake Foster, who played him over 20 years ago, is now grown up, okay? So I was thinking for a reboot to Power Rangers Turbo, and say what you will about Turbo, saying it sucks, it's shit, whatever, but I would like to see Justin be a grown-up this time. He would be like, let's say, the Paul Walker of Blue Rangers. Or anybody from NASCAR. Blue Rangers. Yes, because it makes sense that Turbo was, Turbo's Sentai counterpart was Car Ranger, which was car themed. And it's going to be hard to imagine someone playing Justin. I had a hard time figuring out who I want to be Justin. But I just can't seem to pinpoint, lay my finger on who I want for that part. And who could be Justin. So at this rate, if I'm smart at this, now this is probably going to be somebody from the newer X-Men movies, someone who was probably Beast or Cyclops in one of the newer films, following with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender and stuff. I was thinking Justin Stewart, if he was all grown up in this reboot continuity, will be played by actor Nicholas Hoult from the new X-Men films, if he was Justin Stewart, the Blue Turbo Ranger, already all grown up. Now, I've tried my hardest time to find a good actor. May not be as top, may not top Blake Foster, who at the time was age 12, going, in between ages 12 and 13 when he did Turbo, and that one-off episode of Power Rangers in Space, which was the last we'll ever see Justin in the TV show continuity. But Nicholas Hoult, I think he could do Justin, but I don't want to play I don't want to do the 12-year-old Justin thing, like how it was in the show 20 years ago. Because, yes, what Saban and Shuki Levy did, making a child Power Ranger, was, of course, dumb in Turbo, but I get it, because they wanted to do exactly what Beetleborgs, that other Power Rangers like show that I will feel guilt, that I did watch as a kid, which I'm still guilty for watching now. So what you're going to do? But I think Nicholas Hoult can do Justin, but don't have him like all grown up. Well, have him as a little kid. I was thinking have him as right now he's like age what? Let me look at the how old is Nicholas Hoult? Okay, he was born in 1989, so I'm assuming he's 27, 28. Yeah, so he'll probably be in his 30s by the time I do these films and have Turbo done. And I was thinking with Justin, instead of having TJ or Tommy's teams with Justin, how about, or what I could have gotten instead of Nicholas Hoult for Justin, what if I went with this one? What if I went with Freddie Highmore as Justin? Even though Freddie Highmore is not a little kid anymore, but the first time I ever seen him was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So what if Freddie Highmore, who the Bates Motel actor who played Norman, the young Norman Bates in that awesome, universally acclaimed show, what if Freddie Highmore was Justin, and say Nicholas Hoult was some other character from Power Rangers, or actually drop Nicholas Hoult, and I guess we'll probably go with Freddie Highmore, I guess. Even though, yeah, or go back to Hoult, I guess. Highmore would have been some other character, or don't have him as all. I guess we'll probably work this out. I'll probably figure it out in the finalization of the casting decisions for this later on. Let's go on with the villain, since I don't have anybody else for the rest of Turbo. Now, bear with me, guys, and I kid you not, guys, I am absolutely a Lady Gaga fan. Okay, now I was thinking for Divatox, Lady Gaga should be Divatox if I rebooted Power Rangers Turbo. Now, Hillary Shepard's Divatox is still my favorite. Carol Hoyt was in the first half of Turbo, but Hillary was best in terms of how she was in the show. But now, I couldn't decide a better actress if Power Rangers Turbo ever had a reboot movie. I would cast somebody to be Divatox. I couldn't think of no good actresses. Now, I don't want no actresses who have done Playboy or nothing. No, I want someone in the musical field. Now, can you imagine if I did something diverse with Divatox instead of making Divatox, who was played by a white woman on the show, and go with any of the currently popular music artists, you know, working in Hollywood now with music albums out and stuff? Like, what if I made Beyonce Divatox, who, you know, Beyonce being a black woman? Nicki Minaj. Oh, yeah, you know, nobody likes Nicki Minaj. And Nicki Minaj is also a black woman. Iggy Azalea, white woman, but she's British. Figures. But Lady Gaga, I think, fits. Because, you know, Lady Gaga, when you just think back to when she was so popular, I wonder what's the huge fascination over Lady Gaga back 8, 9, 10 some years ago. What was so great about her that made the pop culture world so tick, the entertainment world so tick with her? I get maybe it was her fashion statements that made everybody fall in love with her and stuff, and I don't know, because I was thinking Lady Gaga, yeah, I was always wondering if she would be a Power Rangers character if I had her, because, you know, I love Lady Gaga. I mean, I've listened to some of her music, but after 2011, I stopped listening to her music, and until I found out she started doing acting in films and stuff like Machete Kills and TV shows like American Horror Story and stuff, I'm like, she's an actress now. Holy crap. You mean to tell me ever since she came out doing all this music and wearing all these weird fashion dresses and stuff, you mean to tell me she's now an actress? Nobody told me. And yeah, because, you know, back in the days when Obama, I have to admit, the early 2010s was the best. But of course, until after, you know, what in 2015 with me and all that, but all that's forgiven. But yeah, so I think Lady Gaga would be a good choice for a Divatox, for a Power Rangers Turbo reboot. Now, there were some rumors speculating if Saban ever did reboot those movies again, the movie franchise for him again, if he ever got someone to be Divatox for a Turbo reboot, he would get someone, you know, there was a little rumor speculating that Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, will be the next Divatox. Nah, not happening, Saban. I would say Lady Gaga will be just fine as Divatox than Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot could be like Demetria or something, but I'm sorry, but next. Now, also someone from Marvel Cinematic Universe lore, speaking of which, we got for General Havoc. I don't have any good choices for castings of Elgar or Rygog. Just Divatox and General Havoc for now in terms of the following characters I got for Turbo. So now, for some of the teams that I'm going to do, since this is going to be a very long video, guys, I don't have any good choices for some of the other characters, you know, fan casting choices that resemble some of the other characters, because it's going to be hard to ambition to do all these characters as much as possible. So anyway, General Havoc, for him, I chose actor Tom Hiddleston. You know, Loki from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Thor movies, and the Avengers himself, if he was the voice of General Havoc. Because Loki is the best part of the MCU, and Tom Hiddleston is the man to nail such a villainous role. So if he was a Power Rangers villain in a Power Rangers reboot movie, I would cast Loki himself as General Havoc, Divatox's brother. Moving on. Now, I don't have any good choices for I don't have a good actor choice for the Phantom Ranger. So for now, just casting choices for Justin, Divatox, and Havoc for now. The others are undecided. Let's go straight to Power Rangers in Space. All right, so for Power Rangers in Space, for my March-verse rebooting of those guys, of this favorite. Now, I know Lost Galaxy, we'll get to that soon because we're getting close. We're getting close to the Galaxy Rangers. But In Space is one of my favorite seasons ever. Now, I know many of you guys have known me for the last 5 years. I've been a big Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fanboy, but I gotta think about the entire legacy if I were to reboot the entire Power Rangers franchise. So let's go straight on to some of the choices I have for In Space. Okay, now someone told me on Instagram when I posted something about the Psycho Rangers for my standalone Lost Galaxy thing, by the way, someone commented, excuse me, belt again, that's kind of rude. Told me that if we ever do get a Power Rangers in Space movie, it's going to be hard for, like, let's say someone to play Andros. It's going to be hard to see someone play Andros in a Power Rangers in Space movie reboot. And knowing whoever you would get for Andros, that person is definitely will not going to be as better as Christopher Kamen Lee in his Andros from the TV show canon. Well, guys, while I was scathing through some casting choices for a Power Rangers in Space movie, if I were to make it, there's a bunch of Chris's working in Hollywood that are so hot today. Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth. I don't think Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself, would be a good Andros. Actually, I was thinking somebody else. Around now. Bear with me. As I go through this video, there is going to be a bunch of actors that I picked that are working in Hollywood, those they were familiar with from Marvel and DC movies and stuff, that are, if they were Power Ranger characters. And in this case, from Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord himself, if he was Andros, the Red Space Ranger, and if he was played by Chris Pratt. Yes. Knowing Guardians of the Galaxy is great. I haven't got to see the sequel yet at the time of this video anyway. But Chris Pratt, I mean, you're probably going to tell me, no, he can't be Andros simply because he doesn't have that blonde hair. He doesn't have long hair. He doesn't have the ponytail like Christopher Kamen Lee did. Well, look, guys, whatever Christopher Kamen Lee did as Andros, that was back in his time as the Red Ranger. And then, like I said about all the actors and stuff that we go through as I go through rebooting Power Rangers in terms of the casting choices of Hollywood actors if they were these characters from Power Rangers. Now, if Chris Pratt was Andros, you're going to tell me he has to be like Christopher Kamen Lee. Okay, look. Christopher Kamen Lee, he was the TV show's version. If I was doing movie versions of Power Rangers in Space and Lost Galaxy, as we'll get to next, I would pick actors that would play different interpretations of those characters instead of going by what Saban did with those characters in the past. So, Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 and all of MCU, and as well as... Okay, what else? Parks and Recreation, I think that was the show he was on. Jurassic World, and then the upcoming sequel for it and whatever. I think Chris Pratt would make a good Andros to me, but of course he will never. Of course, to those fans of Christopher Kamen Lee, the asshole, nowadays, because who never guessed that after Power Rangers, as soon as you see him now in social media, never guessed he would be a complete asshole and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, well, even though I love Andros is my boy, but and Christopher Kamen Lee, he's great, but Chris Pratt, I think he would be just as badass as, even though, seeing him as Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy, he was just a comic relief main character and all that and whatever, but knowing him in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think he would make a good Andros, in my opinion. But even though, I would have went with the other Chris from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, not Chris Evans, Captain America. I mean, like, Chris Hemsworth, Thor, if he was Andros. But no, Chris Pratt. No, let's go with him. For Carlos, the Black Space Ranger. All right, for Carlos... Now, again, in this continuity, let's pretend Carlos was not the Green Turbo Ranger earlier on before he was the Black Ranger. So, for Carlos, I couldn't think of no good Latino actors. So, I went with another actor from Arrow, Rick Gonzalez, as Carlos. Now, I know he is currently Wild Dog and, what's his name? Rain, what's his name? In Arrow. And I was thinking Rick Gonzalez should be Carlos. And, if you've not seen him on Arrow lately, you gotta check him out, man. He's a really good character. He's a comic relief character. He is go watch Arrow seasons 5 in this current one and see for yourselves, guys. He's very great. So I chose Rick Gonzalez, another actor from CW Arrowverse lore, as a Power Ranger. So he's my version of Carlos. Next, for TJ, again, imagine if he was not the Red Ranger earlier on for Turbo, he would be the Blue Space Ranger. So for TJ, the Blue Space Ranger, Laz Alonso. I don't know what he is in. I was just doing some research, but yeah, Laz Alonso will be TJ. He will be the likeness for TJ in a feature Power Rangers in Space reboot film of the Marshverse and the PRLU as a whole. But okay, now Laz Alonso. Okay, as I look at some of the details of what I seen, of what he was on, what movies and stuff he's been in, what made me fan cast him to be a Power Ranger. Okay, he was on shows and movies like The Mysteries of Laura, James Cameron's Avatar, Deception, Detroit, etc. So those are so I'm definitely going to go with Laz as TJ. If you have somebody better, let me know. Let's move on to Ashley. All right, guys, this is going to be tough for Ashley. Actually, I originally was going to go for either Ashley Green. Ashley makes sense. Even though originally also in terms when I was going to do Justin, I was going to go for Justin Bieber as Justin Stewart, the Blue Turbo Ranger. But when really, actually, Justin Bieber needs to stay the hell away from Power Rangers, because I remember long ago with all these fan castings for movie reboots and stuff in the past when I was doing this kind of thing on Ranger Wiki in 2010 and 11, that I think we need to keep Justin Bieber far away from this stuff, because I mean, look, Justin Bieber, he has changed over time now. He's not that same, what he was earlier on, but he may be still a douche now, but he's not that little douche that he was back when he was, after he made that stupid song to make such a huge superstar on YouTube and stuff. But he's not that same person. Justin Bieber's not the same person anymore. But again, Ashley Green could have been Ashley. I could have gone with Elizabeth Olsen for Ashley, the Yellow Ranger. Instead, I went with Daisy Ridley from Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies, as known as Rey in Force Awakens and the upcoming Last Jedi, and whatever else she's in. And I think, Daisy Ridley. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a slight problem, which you guys are going to feel if I were to cast her as the Yellow Ranger. Now, look, guys, I couldn't think of no good casting choice. Even though I originally, it seems like I'm going to have too many actors from CW shows and stuff, and Marvel movies and stuff, if they were Power Rangers. Now, my original choice for if I were to reimagine and make Ashley, reimagined, Ashley Hammond reimagined, which is Tracy Lynn Cruz's character from the show. I originally was going to go for, I'm not sure if Ashley was a redhead, but she was like part redhead, part brunette, based on the casting. But I was thinking about someone like Danielle Panabaker, another actress or actor from, the CW's Flash television series, part of the Arrowverse, CW TV universe. But I decided Daisy Ridley from Star Wars. I don't know how I feel pairing Star-Lord with Rey. Guardians of the Galaxy Star Wars crossover. Even though both movies are space operas. And, it would probably make sense. Though I would have liked it if... No, actually, Daisy Ridley, good choice. But even though somebody would probably have somebody better for Ashley, in their opinion, if they were doing this. Because... that's just the thing, because the way I was picking her as Ashley, I would have gone with somebody better for her. But, I think for all the gripes I've had with Star Wars The Force Awakens and the hype around it and what Disney is doing for Star Wars currently, I was thinking let's make Daisy Ridley a Power Ranger in the Marshverse only for the fan films. All right, so, yeah, Daisy Ridley set for Ashley. Now let's go on with Cassie. Now, I think I just about nailed the In-Space Rangers just about accurately from how we've seen those characters from the show. Because, your nostalgia for Power Rangers in Space is ensuing here, guys. So these are my choices and picks of fan casting of Hollywood talent if they were these characters. So bear with me. Jamie Chung as Cassie, the Pink Space Ranger. Just about accurate. Now, originally, before I chose Jamie Chung, if she were to be Cassie in a Power Rangers in Space movie reboot, for some reason, when I was going for Jamie Chung, before her, I originally was going to go for actress Summer Glau, who's been in a lot of sci-fi and fantasy shows lately. But I have to realize, now when I looked at Jamie Chung, no, not Jamie Chung, Summer Glau didn't really look Asian enough to look like Cassie. Period. Because I didn't think she would fit. Okay, Jamie Chung was in TV shows and movies like Big Hero 6, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, Sucker Punch, few episodes of Once Upon a Time, and so on. And I personally think she would be great for Cassie. Hence, the split image of Jamie Chung wearing something pink on. So I figured she should be Cassie. All right, for Zane, the Silver Ranger. This is also somebody from the X-Men movie universe. Lucas Till as Zane, the Silver Ranger. Now, in my version for Zane, for my version of Power Rangers in Space for these movies, I would make Zane and Andros brothers. But although we're still going to have Corona and Astronema somewhere in here, trust me. But I'll show you who is my version of Astronema, who I want to play Astronema if a Power Rangers in Space movie was made. Okay. Now I know I try to find a good actor to be Zane, even though Justin Nemo was great as Zane on the show. Just because how the character looked on the show don't mean it has to be in something. Well, even though that depends on how you do these characters or whatever. But whatever, I do what I want. But okay, Lucas, I would say Zane will be the youngest of the Space Rangers, even though considering that the actors, okay, having Andros and Zane, Lucas Till and Chris Pratt are, let's face it, Chris Pratt is older than Lucas. Lucas is younger than Chris. Maybe I just make them just have Andros and Zane stay as friends in this version, because it wouldn't make sense having them as brothers, because knowing that the two actors are not as equally as old, equally as each other by the ages. So it's best to have them as just friends or something like that. Even though I guess I would go with him as Zane because it makes sense. Well, I'll figure out how I'm going to reimagine Zane when I do these movies of Power Rangers in Space. All right, and last but not least, guys, in terms of villains, Astronema. All right. So, now, originally, for Astronema, I originally was going to go for actress Sophia Bush from One Tree Hill, of One Tree Hill fame and whatnot. Okay. Now, when I originally was going to fan cast Sophia Bush as Astronema for any of these Power Ranger movies, if they were ever made, you see, I was looking back and I had to be a little accurate or inaccurate to the likeness of how, now, Melody Perkins was great as Astronema and definitely terrific as Corone. But, the only character in Power Rangers to be a villain one series, a Ranger the other. I was really hoping for somebody better for Astronema. So, in the finalized process for Astronema, I decided to recast her for Kristen Bell. Veronica Mars herself. If she was the Princess of Evil, and Intergalactic Princess of Evil, and sister to the Red Ranger. And I was thinking Kristen should be the best choice I can think of for Astronema. Now, for those who remember all the times of all the harp I said about when I was working on, the Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, The Rise of Trakina, that failed standalone Lost Galaxy fan film, I originally wanted, in my mind, the fan cast Kristen Bell as the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger at one point. Not Kendrick's kind of character, but a standalone character separate from any of the original Rangers. And I think she would fit Astronema and Corone's persona, or I could have thought of somebody better else again. But no, actually, it's either Sophia Bush or Kristen Bell. Who is it going to be for Astronema? So I went with Kristen instead. Because Kristen, now she even played a villainous role in the TV show Heroes, which pretty much makes sense. Because when you just think of it, she fits. And personally, in my opinion, she fits. I know I've tried to make her a Power Ranger, you know, for the Lost Galaxy thing, the standalone Lost Galaxy thing earlier before, but, you know, again, that fan film project I did of it didn't pan out based on those casting choices and decisions that I made. So, there's that. So, Kristen Bell, Astronema / Corone, boom. There's the cast of my reimagined cast for Power Rangers in space. Casting choices for the Psycho Rangers, Ecliptor, and Dark Spectre are undecided. So I just about covered about everybody from the Zordon era. Now let's talk about the cast of my reimagined cast of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. And time to reveal my reimagined fan cast for Lost Galaxy. Time to make this big reveal, and after my standalone trilogy is complete, it's time I reimagined Leo, Damon, Kai, Maya, and Kendricks and Mike as the Lost Galaxy Rangers. And here are some of the following choices. Now, starting with the Lost Galaxy fan cast recasts for these reboot movies. There's going to be a few casting choices that are going to be inaccurately different from who the characters were on the show. But bear with me, if you don't like some of the following choices made here, feel free in the comments who you think should have been any of some of these following characters. Now we're going to go through Lost Galaxy through likely RPM, since there's not that many casting choices I could think made for other seasons, like SPD, Mystic Force, if they had reboot movies of their own too, because it's going to be hard to see those, find good choices for those following. So let's get on with Lost Galaxy. So if I were to rebooting Power Rangers Lost Galaxy proper and rebooting it right, and Light Power Rangers Lost Galaxy: The Rise of Shrekina before it, doing a Power Rangers Lost Galaxy reboot film with the names of the original Rangers was in development. Doing that kind of film took many years, took the same amount of years in development hell as The Rise of Shrekina was, since I had a hard time, wanting to see other actors playing Leo, Maya, and stuff, just like how Danny Slavin and Serena Vincent did. But, unlike most people, you guys just only want to see the actors who played them on the show only and don't want to see nobody else playing. But that's fine. Well, it's fine. I mean, these recasts aren't meant for anyone. It's not meant for everybody. Although, if you don't like some of the following choices, then why the heck are you even around just to hear what I gotta say, what choices I picked? Alright, so for Leo, and not the Tony Marshall character for my standalone with the face of Wes Bentley on it. I think I did a bold choice with the Lost Galaxy cast, sort of. But here's some of the following that is kind of accurate to the castings to if these were reboot films. So for Leo, I chose Liam Hemsworth, actor, and one of the brothers of the Hemsworth brothers, mostly Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself. And like I said about with the In Space cast earlier, if I were to reimagine Power Rangers in space and have someone to be Andros, how would you feel seeing Chris Hemsworth play Andros and one of his brothers, Liam, would be Leo for the Lost Galaxy movie cast? How weird would that be? But no, I decided Chris Pratt, Andros, Liam Hemsworth, Leo. How about that? So, actually, as a matter of fact, Liam Hemsworth fits Leo for a reboot. And I have been jotting this down because, yeah, sure, I know what I did for my standalone Lost Galaxy movies that I don't think nobody cares about or ever will care about forever because, I might have put some more of that self-insert crap in those movies anyway, and screw them, you don't need to see them. But with the Lost Galaxy films, if I do them proper, I hope I get the more respect I deserve for doing Power Rangers Lost Galaxy the right way of how to do a Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film. But But like the initial movies, the rebooted Lost Galaxy movies will still be characters as paper dolls, but done better with the names of the original Rangers. But the thing is, I'm not doing the same type of characters we had from the show. Now, if I were to reimagine Leo for this new timeline and continuity and all that series, I want to make him, you know, like the stowaway that he was on Terra Venture, and also have problems with his brother Mike, telling him that he shouldn't be on the ship, and, you know, his brother being overprotective and stuff. And then, you know, here's how I'm going to do it. Well, I'll give you some details while I do details for the MMPR film next time, and when I do talk both Mighty Morphin and Lost Galaxy. So for both cliques of the fandom, for those who like the original versus the team that revived the franchise after the season that saved the show from cancellation, when I do those, you know, that video. And so Liam Hemsworth fits Leo, because you can tell that you're probably saying, yeah, I kind of do see some shades of Danny Slavin's Leo, but it's going to be totally different. I can definitely see Liam Hemsworth, or you could have seen somebody else play Leo. But let's face it, I already have Wes Bentley already slated for the initial series, but he's not Leo. And knowing, again, the Rangers in my separate continuity is not the names of Leo and Maya in them, because they're not really the Lost Galaxy Rangers. So basically all this time, screw it. Let's move on with who I got next for the Rangers. Another Marvel Cinematic Universe actor outlet. Anthony Mackie as Damon the Green Galaxy Ranger. Now, Anthony Mackie is currently, you know, how can I put this? Falcon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe since Captain America the Winter Soldier. You know, for some reason, I just about got everybody from the MCU and this stuff for some of the fan castings if they were Power Rangers characters, hasn't it? Huh. So, now, like I said about Damon, now, nothing against Reggie Roll's version from the show. You see, now, if I were to do Damon, I would say I would make him not the comic relief like he was, you know, the comic relief black guy of the group. Instead, I would make him... Okay, bear with me here. Instead, I would really make him he's whatever his personality would be, because, you know, Damon's character in the show, now, contrast to his original character, he was kind of like Zack in season 1 of Power Rangers, life of the party, but playful at nature. And Damon, he was, you know, how he was grating at times, of course, but nothing against the Reggie, you know, who played him on the show. But I don't got nothing, you know, against Reggie, but it's just, I just had problems with Damon over the years, you know, like Maya. But again, it's just Damon, if I were to reimagine his character, I don't know if I want to still keep him as the mechanic like he was on the show, but no, again, I can't keep him as the same character from the show. He has to have a different backstory. So I'll think about that somewhere down the line with the actor attached, what would fit that persona for this new version of Damon and like the rest of the cast, because I really don't want Damon, you know, making remarks, you know, like what Reggie's character, because again, what Reggie and them did in Lost Galaxy on TV 18, 19 years ago was back in the day. But just because what worked on the show there, I mean, this is why I realize I've been criticized a lot for messing up Lost Galaxy and then doing something with it that I should have never did, and tempered with what people's nostalgia and memories for it from childhood. And especially, I think I tempered my own memories, to tell the truth and be frank. And so let's go with that. And I don't know if I want to make them so serious. I would say I would make Damon like a tech advisor for Terra Venture. He can still like fix stuff like the engines and stuff to certain parts of the Terra Venture. I would probably make him like an ace pilot, because, you know, how the heck can airplanes and F-22 Raptor jets can fly up to space? That's no way impossible. Hey, heck, in that that post-credit scene in the first Transformers movie from 2007, the way how we saw Starscream go up into the air. But he can do that. But how the heck can F-22 Raptor jets fly in space? And especially, well, Terra Venture is like part Earth, but it's a space colony. Maybe that could work. At him being an ace pilot, and also have Damon's background. Let's put it this way: have him like he worked for the Air Force, and if Angel Grove had a military facility somewhere in Angel Grove, and he was once part of the Air Force, or he was part of the something like that, in any of them fields there of the military, have him with the military background, and what motivated him to fly and soar like an eagle as the Green Ranger. Now let's go to Kai, if he was played by Keanu Reeves himself. No, I'm kidding. Keanu Reeves is a bit too old to be a Power Ranger. No, actually, the actor who looks like him, though, is questionable. And I forgot his name. I looked him up, and when I was doing these fan castings for the Galaxy Rangers, his name escapes me at the moment. His name is Godfrey something. He's Asian something. I think Godfrey Lee or something. Let me look that up again. And he would be Kai Chen. Now, I don't know if I want to keep him the same as Archie's Kai from the show, or give him a totally different backstory like for the rest of the others. Because, again, I don't want to copy way too much from the show once more. Like I said many times before, I go by what I want to do if I were to remake these characters. I understand Kai in the show was Terra Venture's top security officer. He goes by the books and rules and regulations. I would say, Kai, I don't know if I want to make him a comic relief Blue Ranger, and stuff like that, because you see the Green Ranger, usually here's the stereotypes of for Power Rangers, where certain Rangers would go in by the colors and personalities. Red would always be the usual leader, voice of reason. Blue is always the loyal one. Yellow is the Tom girl, and sometimes whatever type personality she has. The Pink Ranger is always the happy-go-lucky, hot chick and all of that. And the Green/Black Ranger is always the comic relief. Why can't we have the Blue Ranger be a comic relief? Yeah, I wanted to see a comical side of Kai instead of the usual serious, over-determined, stricken by the books type Kai that Archie Cal played on the show. I want to see a version of Kai where, kind of like the Blue Ranger that I did for my standalone Lost Galaxy movies, make him, although he's a security guard for Terra Venture, but what if he ends up slipping up and acting like a goofball at times? Make him kind of like, like his Sentai counterpart in Ginga Man, that being Goki, who by the way, is a very strong guy, but has somewhat of a heart of gold when he is, what do I know? I never really, even though I don't care for Ginga Man that much, but still we'll go with that approach with Kai for this series. I will see what I can roll with it. And in terms of, the actor that I chose from is Godfrey Gao. I don't know what he's been in, but I'll roll with it with him anyway. And then we go with Mike. We'll come back to Maya later. For Mike as the Magna Defender, unlike in the series, like in the beginning of the series, let's just say that the Magna Defender, the original Magna Defender, is just in spirit, and let's just say in this version of Lost Galaxy that I will do for this reboot of it, instead of Leo missing Mike like Mike died, instead of Mike believed to be dead for the beginning of this Lost Galaxy reboot, how about we make Mike, gone missing? He was kidnapped by Scorpius, and the Rangers got to find a way to save him and stuff. All right, whatever plot. You see, I don't want to copy too much from the show again, where it's the same premise, the same plot over and over again. And the way how it was it's already worse enough in my first Power Rangers Lost Galaxy standalone film, where I had the Red Ranger's brother, who would later become the Magna Defender in a sequel, to have the Magna Defender. Magna Defender come in and seek revenge against head villain, first villainous boss, and then, just copying and pasting stuff from the series. Okay, the reason I did those fan films of Lost Galaxy, like the way I did, 2014 and Wrath of Drakina, was out of spite of my own nostalgia for the series. And yeah, you can tell one of the reasons why I was so nostalgia-ridden for Lost Galaxy when I did those movies. Now, when I do these new Power Rangers Lost Galaxy films and stuff, along with the rest of the PRLU, I will not rely too much on my nostalgia from liking Lost Galaxy. Yes, I loved Lost Galaxy as a kid, but that doesn't mean I have to let my nostalgia get the best and worst of me when I go ahead and do these films. Because it just can't happen. Period. Now, the actor I chose for him, Paul Wesley. And you may know him for... he's another actor from a CW show. Man, what is up with all these actors from the CW and these things that I'm casting for? God, I mean, yeah, I understand the CW has some good shows on, like Vampire Diaries, the originals, The 100 and all that, Jane the Virgin, my Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but Arrow. But it seems like I'm about to get I'm about the CW-fy Power Rangers or something, or Marvel's MCU-fy Power Rangers or something. But anyway, so yeah, Paul Wesley would be Leo's brother Mike in a Power Rangers Lost Galaxy movie reboot. Now you may say that he may look like Russell Lawrence's Mike, but he's not really going to be really Mike. You do know that Mike in the original series didn't really do much other than develop Leo's character and what motivated Leo to be a good Red Ranger, even though despite doubts that he had with his brother in the fan favorite episode Destined for Greatness, great episode by the way, where Leo doubts that he wasn't really chosen to be the Red Ranger, and the Quasar Saber should have been given to Mike, but that was Mike and Leo's brother relationship in a nutshell in the series. And also, if I ever do get to the end of these new Lost Galaxy movies, I am not going to let Mike lose the Magna Defender powers, which, of course, in the TV show never gotten over 19 years ago now, when Mike lost the Magna Defender powers. So, I mean, he did it in sacrifice, so Terra Venture can get the hell out of the Lost Galaxy and away from Captain Mutiny, because Captain Mutiny has captured enough people from Terra Venture to become his slaves and stuff. But the way how he lost the Magna Defender powers, personally, if I were, again, like I said in my retrospective video for it, for the series of Lost Galaxy, I would have liked it for the Zenith Carriosaur if he was ever used, if Saban ever bothered to use the toy version of him as a miniature set to fly into the vortex to keep the Zenith Carriosaur open, have the Zenith Carriosaur keep the portal open so Terra Venture can try to make it as fast as can to get out of the Lost Galaxy, escape it, and the Zenith Carriosaur just blows up in sacrifice, and Mike could have still kept his Magna Defender powers, so the Rangers and Magna Defender would face Drakina for the final time. And that's what raised a lot of questions. Why the heck Torozord appeared in Drakina's Revenge briefly, unedited, is just... I have no idea why they did it. So yeah, Paul Wesley, I chose him. Someone from Vampire Diaries / the originals. 2 shows from the CWs about teen vampires and crap. He's Mike Corbett. So let's go ahead and stick with him as the new Mike Corbett, while opposite the Liam Hemsworth as the new Leo for my next attempt at Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan films. All right, guys, let's go with Kendricks. You guys been waiting for me to talk about Kendricks, so let's go straight to the point with her. In my standalone movies, the Pink Rangers that I have with the likenesses of actresses Katie Cassidy, later Kristen Milioti, were neither called Kendricks or Corone in the standalones. I'm going to tell you that now. And I was thinking, let's bring back Kendricks again. And I was thinking, instead of Kendricks being the scientist for Terra Venture like she was in the original show in this new version, this reboots, because again, reboots, that means not everything from the original has to be the freaking same. I was thinking I was either wanting to make Kendricks, I don't know, I was thinking what kind of good profession she would fit for this version, this continuity. I was thinking she could be a psychiatrist. I mean, if there was a psychiatry field for Terra Ventura and the space. No, I've been knowing scientists and engineers and all this stuff from the show. But again, I was thinking Terra Ventura should expand itself a little bit more to feel like Earth, but in space, ingrained in space. Now, the original show, now we would have gotten that Leo and Kendrick's relationship in the show, but due to Valerie Vernon's health problems midway through production of Lost Galaxy, we could have gotten Leo and Kendrick's love story in Lost Galaxy, but I'll try to attempt it here for this reboot of Lost Galaxy. So the actress I chose for her, and the only choice if I were to reboot Kendrick's with said actress, would be actress Laura Vandervoort. Now, Laura Vandervoort has been in plenty of things I can name, TV and film-wise, that featured her, and all I can recall, she was in a few TV shows. And this phone. She was in a few television shows and probably a few movies. I did hear that she is going to be in Jigsaw. She was in the movie Jigsaw, which is part of the Saw franchise. Seriously, I never cared for the Saw franchise. And she's been in plenty of films and shows. She was on V, Bitten, Coffee Shop, Supergirl, Smallville. I didn't know she was in Smallville. Ted. She was about in almost everything you can imagine on television and film. Haven, Damage, Desperately Seeking Santa, some Hallmark TV movie, Con Man, White Collar, just about everything she was in. So I think Laura Vandervoort, I was thinking, let's make, based on this diverse casting, let's make Kendrick's a Canadian, like I did with Tommy for the Mighty Morphin Zeocast Canadian. And I mean, unlike Valerie Vernon's Kendrick's, my version of Kendrick's doesn't wear glasses. Let's say she has contact focal lenses that she can wear so she can see better. Because, of course, I liked it Valerie's Kendrick's, but, of course, wearing the glasses, that, looking back in retrospect, it does kind of make her look a bit dorky. All right, now let's go in with Maya. So there was a bit of a hot debate whether if I want to make Maya like this and not like that. Now, for Maya and Trakina, as I go through their casting choices for rebooting, now, this is where I think a lot of people are going to have a bunch of, outcries and outroars about this change to Maya, and I think you guys are not going to like this change. And oh my God, prepare to get butthurt, because your fan favorite Yellow Ranger with the skimpy jungle outfit is not going to be that kind of version in this reboot of Lost Galaxy. I understand as much as you don't like reboots, but you got to deal with it. So in 3, 2, 1, Maya will be played by a black woman. And you're going to be saying, why did you change Maya from a white woman's role to a black? You got to think about diversity, okay? Now, just come to think of it. Leo with Liam Hemsworth is of Australian descent. He's Australian. Anthony Mackie is black. True. Godfrey Gao is probably Korean. Laura Vandervoort is Canadian. So what's wrong? We can't have a black girl play one of your favorite characters, Yellow Rangers, in Power Rangers, if in a Power Rangers Lost Galaxy reboot movie, if Maya was to be played by a black woman this time around. You see, here's the thing, guys. I hardly even represent African American women who are actresses in Hollywood film and television in any of my Power Ranger films when I did these kind of fan castings, because I want to take a stab in the chance of making Maya black, because, a black girl in the Yellow Galaxy Ranger costume, because, you see, I don't have that many, I don't have that many African American females that I want the fan cast playing, a yellow Power Ranger. or any kind of any Ranger really. Because if you if you're going to reboot something, you got to change up, you know. Not everything has to stay the same. So the one big change I made for Lost Galaxy was changing Maya's ethnic race. Now, Maya will still be from Miranoi, but just I had to change up her actress and her race. It's kind of like when they made Guardians of the, you know, it's kind of like when Marvel wanted to bring the Guardians of the Galaxy to the big screen. And when they casted who they think should get for Gamora, they casted Zoe Saldana, an actress who is black and is a black female actress, to play a character who maybe in the comics was, you know, genetically white but was covered in green skin. Okay, so what's wrong? You can't let me make Maya be a black woman, or be played by a black girl or a black woman. What is wrong with that? Yes, we know Serena Vincent is Caucasian, but what's wrong? You can't let me make Maya a black woman. I mean, there's not that many females that I wanted to be a Yellow Ranger in any of the castings that I've made here. Now, can you imagine for me reimagining Mighty Morphin and I made Trini black, with knowing this is going to make people think Trini is Aisha or something? Or if I did Turbo and I had Ashley black, they're going to confuse Ashley for Tanya. Or Wild Force, if I made Taylor black, in terms of between Time Force and Wild Force, you're going to confuse Taylor for Katie. You see what I'm saying? So suppose if I were to do something like that with Maya being a black woman, I want to see someone play. You see, I don't want the character to resemble Serena Vincent's Maya from the show for this reboot, because if I make Maya, okay, look, you got some black women in Hollywood with black hair and brunette hair in Hollywood. So what's wrong? You can't make Maya a brunette black woman. Huh? What's wrong with that? Okay. And I know that Maya was in the show a white woman. Now, I know this is totally 100% whitewashing 101. You're going to tell me I just about got every one of the Rangers correct, but once when I get to Trakina in a couple of moments, you're going to tell me I got something wrong with Trakina. Yeah, you want to bring her up again because I know how you are with Trakina. You always want to, like, you just like, it's like you wish you had some of her bug ass or something. Look, come on. But with Maya, you know, I just don't see what's the big deal with, and also what's the big deal with Maya? Seriously, out of all the Lost Galaxy Rangers looking back years later, I just can never now understand in retrospect what is the big deal with Maya. I just can't get, I just can't seem to get it. What is up with Maya? I mean, what's so great about her? I get that she was the first Ranger, you know, female Ranger to wear a scantily clad outfit and all that because she's from an alien jungle planet. But I've always been more into Kendricks and Corone, thank you very much. But I just can never understand the fascination over Maya, just because, yeah, we know that after Power Rangers, her actress went on to do 2 movies where she stripped naked and all that stuff. We got to see her tits and ass, excuse me. But seriously, what is the big deal about Maya? I mean, yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why I'm tired of Lost Galaxy now, and knowing that now the Maya that I'm going to establish ain't going to be that kind of character, because you know I gotta keep up with the times here. So if Zoe Saldana is Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy, this is who I picked if I were to do for a Power Rangers Lost Galaxy movie, do diverse casting for Maya if she was played by a black actress. So I went with, once more, another CW actress, an actress from a CW show, like Arrow, Flash, whatever, with Candace Patton, if she was to be Maya. Now, before that, actually, where I made a mistake at was, you know, originally envisioning Tamara Taylor to be Maya or Maya's mother. Now, how I would have done this was for a reboot of the origin of the Galaxy Rangers. If there were actually an ancient team of the Lost Galaxy, if there was a, you know, kind of like in Saban's Power Rangers movie reboot with Zordon's team of Rangers, Power Rangers, if there was an original person that was the original Yellow Ranger before Maya would take on the Yellow Quasar Saber. Now, I know in the TV show canon, the Quasar Sabers were in the stone on Miranoi for 3,000 years. So how would I translate that for a reboot movie plot for Lost Galaxy? I don't want it to be 3,000 years ago, because that will resemble too much of what the show said. So it's best that I would have to change it to the amount of years the Quasar Sabers were in the stone, but they were freed by whoever picked them and then put them back in the stone, and it hasn't been tempered with this, you know, for years. So what if there were actually an older pre-team of Lost Galaxy Rangers before Leo's team, in this timeline? So I would say Tamara Taylor would be the original Yellow Galaxy Ranger pre-Maya on Miranoi. Back in that battle on Miranoi, you know, thousands of years ago, facing Scorpius. And I would say that that's what I think would happen in the reboot. And then eventually Scorpius would kill the original Yellow Ranger and then have someone pass the saber on to Maya. And let's just say, instead of like what we had in the TV show, having people who don't really, 6 people don't really belong, 5 people don't really belong together, have the power inevitably to become the Galaxy Rangers, pull out the Quasar Sabers, knowing that they would be the chosen ones, that they were the ones that fought, even if they haven't known well how to train well facing Stingwingers back in Quasar Quest, then maybe that's something I would do for that Lost Galaxy reboot. Don't you think? There would be someone who was originally the Yellow Ranger prior to Maya, and see where that goes from there. Or let's just say that, you know, her friend from that one-off episode after Evil Game, that episode, the Chandra episode. What if Chandra, you know, Maya's friend from Miranoi in the show, was originally going to be a Lost Galaxy Ranger from Miranoi? Think about it. But instead of having Chandra and Maya being, you know, back when they were kids trying to pull the sabers out of the stone, what if they were actually, you know, like around their teens when they were trying to pull the sabers from the stone prior-wise? Or something like that. Now, if I were to reimagine Maya, I am not going to make Maya be that clueless, you know, jungle girl bimbo that she was. And I don't mean to call Maya a bimbo, you know, from Miranoi, because that's based on, when I look back on her, that's what she was. And no wonder she was complete huge eye candy. And no offense to anyone who's a fan of her character or her actress, but the thing is, I just don't want to do Maya all skimpy looking. I mean, and all, well, even though, yeah, I mean, she was whatever, but really, I mean, after Power Rangers, just because outside of the show, after she moved on doing television and movies, and no wonder Serena was doing more acting than the rest of her castmates later on after their time on Power Rangers, you would think that you would see her stripped naked so we could see her tits and ass again. Not happening. Okay, so yeah, Candace Patton, you may know for currently Iris, and you know, as Iris, one of Barry's half stepsister from The Flash. I would cast her as Maya, and if you guys got a problem with Maya being played by a black woman, then I'm sorry. If you want to have a white woman who's probably like been in porn or whatever to be Maya as the Yellow Galaxy Ranger, be my guest, because you know you guys want to see Maya naked and all that stuff, want to be all perverted and all that stuff. You guys gotta understand, Power Rangers is a children's show, but yet, you know, I understand as an adult you want to have your little perverted fantasies of Maya with her tits and ass like in the movie, not another teen movie or something, but that was Serena's version. And you gotta understand that. Yeah, I know I've been going on with Maya. Let's go on with Trakina already. You know, I'm not going to lie to you guys, but the Trakina that I chose, you know, the actress I chose for Trakina for the standalones, one of the standalones for like Wrath of Trakina, that being Maggie Sif of Sons of Anarchy and Billions. I got to admit that I'm going to regret making, you know, fan casting Maggie Sif as Trakina, and knowing the fact that for someone who's never was a fan of Sons of Anarchy, and knowing the fact I didn't know who the hell Maggie Sif was, you know, outside of her, you know, knowing all people are going to know of her was, oh, she was Terra Knowles on Sons of Anarchy, but knowing I never really give a about Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, I got the show on DVD, but looking back, once I'm done watching the show, I'm like, this show. I don't see what's so great about Sons of Anarchy other than the fact it's a bunch of biker dudes and then it's violence and cartels and whatever, all that crap. But anyway, now if you thought my reimagined diverse casting of Maya was going to be problematic, having her being played by a black woman, well, I'm going to consider you this. What if Trakina was played by a ginger woman? Ginger Scottish woman. And you see, of all the times I've been dick writing Trakina, pussy writing Trakina, and, you know, wanting the, you know, imagine her in one of these movies the way I've done her, making her like the Elvira Power Ranger villains or Maleficent of Power Ranger villains and stuff like that, you know, for the standalone films. You see, for the rest of the most of all of the Power Rangers legacy, for the legacy fan film universe, I don't want to portray her the same as Amy's version. Now, I know, I bet you anyone from Lost Galaxy's cast watching this video or whatever I'm posting on Instagram about this, if they see that, they're going to think I'm trying to replace them for people in Hollywood working, you know, in film television other than they are, and you know fans are going to, you know, Power Ranger fans only like their versions. Well, of course, everybody has their favorites. I mean, I'm just trying to express what I would have done if I were to make these movies with these actors, okay? All right. So this is going to be the gazillionth time I've tried to find an actress to play Trakina for Power Rangers anything, really. And I think I nailed down probably a better casting choice that I should have done for Wrath of Trakina, unlike Maggie, Terra Knowles herself, that fucking bitch. That fucking bland, boring, dull bitch. And personally, I kind of dig on the Found Someone that I think you may be familiar from another, once more, CW show, CWizing the Power Rangers and all the castings and the choices. All right. So basically, the Trakina that I'm going to reimagine is a redhead. Whatever her personality is, it's not going to be like what Amy did on the show, guys. Because I know you guys are going to tell me, what the hell did you do to Trakina this time than you did when you, whatever, Elvira-ized Trakina for the standalones? What did you do with Trakina this time for this? You see, look, guys. When I mean reboot Power Rangers Lost Galaxy and the rest of the Power Rangers as a whole, I mean like reboot the characters from what they were from the original canon, but for a separate continuity, separate reality, alternate Earth, like, you know, DC and Marvel with their alternate Earths and crap. Not make them the same characters that they were since day one. Maybe some callbacks to their original character counterparts, but not really go all out try to make them the same characters. And now, Trakina, I have really been talking about her all decade of death, nostalgia-wise, nostalgia bent for Lost Galaxy. And I know ever since when I started this Rise to Trakina crap, it's whatever, 7-8 years ago, I have been so hung over Lost Galaxy and Trakina, and knowing that, yeah, she's a great villain and all that, but I just think I'm at the point where I'm sick of Trakina. And I don't mean in that sense, but the thing is, whenever I put out images about my paper dolls of her on Instagram and stuff, people don't want to comment, don't want to talk about it, because, you know, of course, if I, like, let's say, slapped Amy's likeness and every other, you know, actor's likeness from the show, the TV show side of Power Rangers' likenesses on the characters for paper dolls and stuff, you know, the actors behind those characters will accept that. But if it's like people who have never been on Power Rangers than they were, then they're like, forget it, I don't want to see that. I mean, I don't even know what they'll think, okay? And I've been waiting for the longest time to tell you guys this. Maybe what I should have did when I did the Wrath of Trakina and before all that, maybe I should have gone with someone decent. And if not, someone who's probably an up-and-coming actor. Rising actor. Or minuscule actor, but whatever. But small known actor. But I've already found a small known. If Trakina was small known to those who are not fans of Power Rangers outside the original, I found someone small known, great actress, pretty beauty, gorgeous queen of hell, and yeah, hence with the name like that, you probably know exactly what actress I got for this Trakina, and you probably already know. And yes, my friends, the actress that I got for this universe's version of Trakina for the PRLU, Power Rangers Legacy Universe films, fan films, you guys know this is Crowley's mother, the Queen of Hell herself, if she was a Power Rangers villain. And I kid you not, guys, because I have been watching Supernatural, and around this time 3 years ago, this was when Rowena appeared on Supernatural around this time, around sometime between January 21st or so of 2014, since season 10. Season 12, and I had been catching up on Supernatural and with with Lucifer and all that crap. But all right, but now you see, guys, I don't want to go with a Trakina that was always what she was, since her tenure as a villain in the show. Daddy's girl turned fierce warrior, trained by this guy who made her a warrior in the first place, and conqueror, ruler of the galaxy, and all that crap. Lost her dad, blames the Red Ranger for her father's death, and blah. I ain't doing that crap again. Like I did in the standalone Wrath of Trakina fan film. I am not doing that same Trakina, the same one that I mentioned that was Amy's Trakina, over and over again, because I don't want to repeat that story arc, repeat the personality that her character was. I'll come up with a different personality for Trakina, but it ain't going to be what Amy did. But again, this is rebooting Power Rangers here. So yeah, the actress that I mentioned from Supernatural, who's more popular with the Supernatural fandom and whatever, her actress, Ruth Connell. I picked her as Trakina because, you see, the thing is, ever since I saw her on Supernatural, even though I didn't care for it at first until when I found out, well, actually, Rowena was what got me into watching Supernatural full time. Because I know before Supernatural, now I know a lot of you Supernatural fans are thinking, what is a Power Ranger fan casting her, dream casting her as a Power Ranger, one of our favorite queens of hell as a Power Rangers villain? Really? Well, it's my project. This is my channel and my show. I call the shots and come up with these fan casts if I want. Now, it would be kind of pedantic to imagine Trakina as a Scottish ginger woman. And knowing that, now Ruth Connell, she is Scottish. And, man, I mean, I don't want to go for some Trakina. I don't want to go for an actress who plays a stuck-up, vapid, cold, empty, spoiled princess type Trakina that we knew from the show that Amy played, because I didn't want to go with that. Or a Trakina that had her deal with daddy issues with Scorpius for this version, because that was what she was on the show, but that doesn't mean it has to happen in a reboot, remake, reimagining, whatever. This is a reimagining here, so I have to figure out what I would do if I were to reimagine. Don't tell me, don't do like what any emperor's daughter of a princess or whatever, off of Avatar, The Last Airbender, or whatever would be, and all that for her, for a reboot, because I'm not doing it. I'm just simply not doing it. And you know how I am. I don't like any kind of fictional work or even girls in real life who have daddy issues or spoiled brats and spoiled princesses are so vapid and cold and empty and stuck up and whatever and all that crap. Fuck that shit. Because it goes to show why I never really was into girls like that. Because, that depends on what's wrong, what was going on with their upbringings. That's their problem. I just never, for one thing, in terms of fiction and in real life, I have never liked any girl with, who are so stuck up and cold and empty and crap. I just never have and never will. And especially in, children's shows who have characters who are, stuck up, spoiled daddy's girls and crap. Look at Angelica Pickles and Rugrats, or Debbie Thornberry and the Wild Thornberries, or crap. A lot to name a few that are like that. Princess Morbucks from the Powerpuff Girls. Hello? So, yeah, I'm not doing that kind of Trakina for this new reboot, new thing of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy for fan films. So, Ruth Connell, Rowena herself as a Power Rangers villain. I don't know how the Supernatural fandom will feel, because I think they're going to have to... I think the Supernatural fandom are going to be like, what the is Rowena doing as a Power Rangers villain? I'm going to tell them it's fan casting, man. Fan casting. It's called dream casting, wishing actors would be other characters from other franchises and stuff for movies or TV shows or something. Idiot. Lightspeed Rescue, guys. Let's move on to them. Now, it's, Lightspeed, now starting with Lightspeed for fan castings and all the way to, so there's only, now starting with Lightspeed, since I've been going on a little long enough for these fan castings, since I've been wanting to do this for the 300th edition of this podcast, that, I know, having a field day with all these fan casting choices, this is a long video, guys, long stretch. There's, the fan casting choices are going to be incomplete if I were to cast all of these big name A-listers and no names and all that, up and coming actors, these Power Ranger characters. So, alright, so I kind of went on and found someone who I would think would be our new reimagined Lightspeed Rescue team, starting with Carter Grayson, the Red Lightspeed Ranger. My choice for the actor behind, if a Lightspeed Rescue movie was made, I would pick Armie Hammer for Carter, the Red Ranger. Because now I know Armie Hammer. His biggest flop, based on a popular television show, The Lone Ranger, was something. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Henry Cavill was a bit decent. But if a Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue movie was ever made, or ever made by me, I would cast Armie Hammer as Carter Grayson. I mean, he's close, but of course he's no Sean C.W. Johnson, but we'll go with it. Next, I would pick for Kelsey. Now, between Kelsey and Dana, I had problems casting the girls. If I were to go with some of the following. Caitlin... Wait. Catherine... wait, who was the actress that I picked for... Wait a minute. Who's the actress that I picked for Kelsey again? Some chick from some CW show. Someone from Heart of Dixie or something. Another CW show. Catherine Starr, I think that was her name. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I had a hard time trying to decide whether if I wanted. Now, within the 48 hours I did this, before I did this video, I wanted to make Kelsey like I did. Would make Trini a lesbian. So I was thinking, let's make Kelsey a lesbian in a Lightspeed Rescue movie reboot. And you know how the stigmatization of making superheroes gay thing, man. If Hollywood wants Marvel to make Captain America and Bucky gay and all that crap, wasn't wrong. We can't make some Power Rangers gay. Actually, just only like some of the Yellow Rangers, because you see, looking at some of the except for the Yellow Rangers with skirts, but the Yellow Rangers who had Sentai counterparts in Super Sentai that were male, those should be the lesbian characters. Because if they're wearing suits that are designed for a man to wear, but in Sentai, but in Power Rangers for a woman, what if I made Kelsey Winslow, the Yellow Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue, a lesbian, or bisexual, whatever, transsexual, what you like to go with. But I would say she could go with that, go with her as a lesbian or something, or don't make Kelsey a lesbian. She could still be that extreme sports athlete kind of character. I don't know about anything else in terms of personality. I don't want her to go with that but don't think before she leaps kind of persona that, Sasha Craig Williams had for her Kelsey on the TV show. Well, I'll probably go with this version of Kelsey. I don't know, because I haven't decided what the new Kelsey would be in terms of personality yet. For the new version of Chad, the Blue Ranger, I went with Hawaii Five-O's own Daniel Dae Kim. Because it's a little easier that Daniel Dae Kim, even though I would say, if I were to do Kai now, I mean, not Kai, Chad now, I would make him the oldest of the Lightspeed Rescue team. The oldest ranger of the team. And, Chad in the original show was a swimmer. He did martial arts. He's best BFS with, Kelsey. Because, that's the thing with Lightspeed Rescue. When you look back on Lightspeed Rescue, and even like when Linkara pointed out, Lightspeed Rescue was a very back-to-basics Power Ranger series where it does feel very reminiscent to the first season of Power Rangers with MMPR. And I would definitely recommend for anyone who's not a fan of Mighty Morphin, I'm not a fan of Power Rangers outside of the original, again, check out Lightspeed Rescue. It's kind of like season 1 of Power Rangers, but you gotta understand what's different from the original series to, well, unless you don't really like any of the later ones, again, speaking. Well, you. Excuse me, but no, seriously. So yeah, Daniel Dae Kim, I would definitely have him as Chad. Moving on. Joel, the Green Ranger, for him, I chose actor Lance Gross as Joel because you see, last I've seen him, I haven't seen him in anything outside of some Tyler Perry show. Oh yeah, Tyler Perry's House of Pain. But it's coming from, this is picking an actor that's coming from someone who has worked on a Tyler Perry program of something, movie or TV show, and have him as a Power Ranger. And knowing Joel, now, like Damon in Lost Galaxy, Joel in Lightspeed is very grating. Now, if I ever reimagine Joel's character, yes, I will still keep him as the Sky Cowboy, but if there was one thing I would freaking remove from Joel's character from the original show for these movies and stuff, I really don't want him here's this one thing. You know how he was in the show with Mrs. Fairweather, the person who made the Lightspeed Rangers' stuff, the Zords, weapons, etc.? And there will be times where Joel always kept hitting on Miss Fairweather to ask her out on a date. And I'm like, you're already doing something Zach did for Angela in season 1, buddy. Why are you doing this? Seriously? Knowing that she don't have time to date you and all that stuff. I understand you want to be with her because she thought she was so hot and pretty. I'm sorry, but I don't think the Joel in my version of Lightspeed Rescue is going to do anything like that. I don't think I want to do Miss Fairweather in these. Well, I don't know. That's going to make the Lightspeed movie reboot incomplete if Miss Fairweather wouldn't be in it. Because I really don't want to copy what Joel did on the show with her, and while he's supposed to fulfill his duty with the team, helping people, save people, deal with the demons, blah, blah, blah. Because, again, that was Joel's character in the show. But for a reimagining of Lightspeed Rescue, what if Joel wasn't that Sky Cowboy who wanted the scientists who made the Lightspeed Rangers' stuff in the Lightspeed Aqua base? But again, that would strip away what that character meant to people. Like, suppose if I stripped away what made Carter Grayson so badass and a fighter, and what motivated him to be a Red Ranger, or what if there was this one thing I took away from Dana, a paramedic, and what I would take away from her if she was the Pink Ranger, that kind of thing. And also, speaking of Dana, now let's move on with Dana. I had a hard time trying to fan cast Dana if I were, if a Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue movie reboot was ever made. I was thinking for Dana, okay, like Sienna Miller earlier, speaking of which, it's obvious that this is someone from G.I. Joe as well, guys, and from G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, and other stuff, blah. Rachel Nichols, I would definitely have her as Dana, the Pink Ranger from Lightspeed, Captain Mitchell's daughter. And now Dana, I can see Rachel Nichols playing her. Now, I know she may not be no Allison McInnes, but again, this is a reboot and a reimagining of Lightspeed. And I'm going to see how I can pull off Lightspeed Rescue. Now, I know I've seen Rachel Nichols in a few things, especially G.I. Joe, Star Trek reboot, the movie that she had with Wes Bentley, P2, and I don't know what else she's in as of this point, but still, regardless, I do think she would fit Dana's role great for a reboot. Originally, I was going to go for either Ashley Greene or, I can't believe I tried Ashley Greene twice, and oh god, there was one more. Yeah, so I tried my best to find someone who could fit her footsteps for that part. So I've been trying. And now for Ryan, the Titanium Ranger, again for a Lightspeed Rescue reboot, if I ever do. You know, you guys are going, you know, okay, now when I said about Maggie Sif, Terra Knowles from Sons of Anarchy, if I had her in the standalones of Lost Galaxy as Trakina, there is somebody in particular from Sons of Anarchy lore, Sons of Anarchy alumni, that I picked for the Titanium Ranger. Yes. Charlie Hunnam, Jax Teller himself, if he was Ryan Mitchell, the Titanium Ranger. And especially in a reboot if he had a beard. And, you know, like I said about Sons of Anarchy earlier, I never really cared for the show, but I understand why it has a fan base. Because Brian, for some Charlie, for some reason, you know, I have been watching Sons of Anarchy, but the thing is, yeah, it's a great show, but the one thing that I'm just put off about is, you know, when I see him on screen having sex in that show in a few episodes, why the hell is that show has the audacity to keep showing his ass? I'm not gay. I'm a man. I only look for a woman's. Let me shut up. I'm talking about Power Rangers here. Anyway, so yeah, Charlie Hunnam, Jax Teller, Sons of Anarchy lore, you know, Illuminati. I made him the Titanium Ranger because, you know, I thought, I don't know how you guys would feel, just like I said about for the standalone Lost Galaxy stuff, having Maggie Sif being Trakina kind of thing, and I was just like, ugh. You know, why was it that, I mean, it's something that I wanted to do when I was coming up with this choice. And it's kind of, it's dubious to think about it because Charlie Hunnam, I also had no idea he was also in Pacific Rim, of all movies. Of course, he had two other movies that I heard were bombs this year, The Lost World of Z, and that King Arthur movie that flopped badly. And oh my god, that is so miserable. It seemed like he went from being this badass biker dude, leader of Sam Crow and a mama's boy to Gemma, to now being a loser ass big screen flopper for playing King Arthur. Unbelievable. But anyway, yeah, Charlie Hunnam's a good actor and all, but it's just some of the, you know, it's just, I understand, you know, once you came from Sons of Anarchy, you're going to have a hard time being seen as some other character. I mean, seriously, I just don't understand that fan appeal. Yeah, it's a good show, but I just don't care about what the fans think and why they think Jax and Terra should be good forever and all that crap. Fuck that shit. I mean, seriously. What? And also, seriously, I never was all about Jax and Terra. Now, again, for Maggie Sif, in terms of her new show, Billions, Wendy and Axel, or Wendy and whatever Paul Giamatti's character's name is, that is kind of better to me. That's just my opinion, guys. So, yeah. So, that's it for the Lightspeed Rangers. Now, I do have only three villain choices, fan castings for Lightspeed Rescue. And I was really sure if you guys would be interested in some of these choices I chose for, you know, for the following villains. Even though the Lightspeed Rescue villains are boring, but, you know, you gotta roll with it. Alright, so I would say for Queen Banshira, if someone would do the voice of her, I was thinking Connie Nielsen, who was just recently Wonder Woman's mother, you know, Diana Prince's mom in Wonder Woman, would be the voice of Queen Banshira. Yeah, she could be that. Next, I forgot this dude's name. If he was Diabolico, I could have found someone better. Maybe, how about we could make, I can't think of a good actor that could be Diabolico here. See, next. And lastly, since I don't have any good casting choices for Jinx or Loki, or Olympius right now at the moment, at the time of this video, for Vipra. Alright, where's Vipra? Okay, here she is. Okay, so for Vipra, I chose actress Jamie Murray. You may know of her from a couple of shows. and especially where she played a bunch of lesbian stuff in them shows like Spartacus and whatever show she was in the UK. And you see, now, like some of the other character castings that I've gone through for now 2 hours of ranting of for fan castings, Vipra was, you know, you guys are probably going to wonder why Vipra isn't played by an Asian woman. And here we go again. This is kind of going to be whitewashing 101. Probably telling me, why is Vipra played by a British woman, and knowing she don't look hardly anything like what Vipra looks like on the show. Again, it doesn't matter as long as it's the person in the costume. There's still that character. So I'm like, all right, I went with this choice for Vipra because I couldn't think of a good Asian actress to play Vipra. Because if Vipra was played by Jennifer L. Yan, who is of Asian descent, then maybe I could have, you know, Chinese or so descent, maybe I could have found an Asian actress to be Vipra. Simple. So what's the problem? I can't make Vipra someone else. And it doesn't matter who wears the costume and whatever, as long as they're that character. Seriously. Well, Lightspeed Rescue is done. Now, Time Force, okay, so I guess starting with Time Force, this is where I'm pretty short on some good casting choices of Hollywood talent if they were these characters from Power Rangers. Now, like I've said, now this is something I've been saying for 3 years. If I were, again, rebooting Power Rangers, and if I were to do a Time Force movie. Alright, so right now I only have any actor choices, fan casting choices for Eric, Lucas, and Jen for now. The others, I haven't decided who could be, like Rancic, Nadira, Tripp, Katie, and Wes for now. So just stick to the following ones I have for Time Force for the time being. So the choice, okay, the first thing that come to mind for the choice that I have for Time Force, if a Time Force movie was ever made, not like the proposed Time Force movie that Saban couldn't make because you know there were plans that could have been a movie about their season, but sadly no. But a reboot movie. But for a reboot movie, you know, now Jen is one of my favorite Pink Rangers in Power Rangers. Yes. But imagining someone trying to fill up the shoes of Erin Cahill playing Jen, if a Power Rangers Time Force movie reboot was made, that would be kind of hard to you, but I don't know about me. So the only choice I went was actress Julia Voth, who you may know, familiar for you Resident Evil fans, as the likeness of the character of Jill Valentine in a couple of Resident Evil game titles and stuff. And I really want to imagine if a Time Force reboot movie was ever made, I would put Julia Voth in the role of Jen. Because, I mean, if Julia Voth can play a badass character, because if for anyone who's seen movies like, Bitch Slap, that was the name of the movie, you've seen her, or as Jill Valentine in the Resident Evil games, you can see that she can be a badass. Jen was a badass Pink Ranger on the show, so it can translate well to a reboot movie, have Jen be this badass, you know, Pink Ranger who is determined to, you know, capture Rancic in a reboot movie, and also dealing with the death of her fiance Alex in the year whatever in reboot terms 3010 or 4010 or whatever crap, and then and if they're in the past 2011, 2021 or some crap. Yeah, we could do that, and let's see where that works from there. Lucas. I've been lingering on this choice for years about Lucas if a Time Force movie was made. And yeah, as much as I don't like Twilight, I had no choice but to put Taylor Lautner, a bore of a piece of crap, eye candy gazing actor, as the most boring, bland, not memorable Blue Ranger of all freaking time. Taylor Lautner as Lucas the Blue Ranger. You know, I can imagine if I made Lucas, if he was played by Taylor Lautner, like Jacob from Twilight. Because I don't want to Twilight up Time Force or anything. Like, imagine if I had some actors Wes against some actors Eric, and they're fighting over. No, that's stupid. Or like again, Mighty Morphin. If like I said about Kimberly and stuff earlier, very hours on into the video earlier, if Kimberly and Jason was together and Tommy comes in and takes Kimberly away from Jason, then it would be like Twilight. Then it would be Twilight in Power Rangers. No. But Lucas, not memorable at all, so screw him. No offense, Michael Copon. Now, I couldn't think of a good, badass actor to play the Quantum Ranger, Eric Myers of the Silver Guardians. Someone who has been a rival of Wes, as like established on the show. So for now, I just only thought about Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Eric, the Quantum Ranger. Since, of course, he may not be no Daniel Southworth Eric Myers, but I was thinking if Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the Quantum Ranger in a Power Rangers Time Force movie reboot, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has played some badass characters before. He has played what's his face? John Blake, I think, in The Dark Knight Rises. The younger version of Bruce Willis's character in the movie Looper, Premium Rush, several other movies I can think of. And definitely not G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, because I know I now make this now 3 actors from a 8-year-old G.I. Joe movie now that I've wanted to fan cast if they were characters in Power Rangers. Sienna Miller as the Pink Zeo Ranger, Debbie Cat, Rachel Nichols as Dana, the Pink Lightspeed Ranger, and now Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Eric, the Quantum Ranger, in a Time Force movie if these movies were ever made. And really, I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt can pull it off, but of course he is knowing Daniel Southworth on the show. Yeah, Eric was badass on the show because, of course, Quantum Ranger was freaking badass, but maybe I could have gone with a better choice. Now that's it for Time Force for now. I don't got any good choices for Time Force, but and for the time being, I'll try to find some good actor fan casting choices. Let me know in the comments if you got any good choices, fan casting choices for Rancic, Nadira, Wes, Trip, and Katie. Let me know. Because, of course, it's obvious for Katie, I can find any black actress and have her as Katie. No big deal. Between now with Wild Force through Megaforce, Dino Charge, I don't have any other choices. So, for the time being, just only actors I can find for some of the following seasons. Let's skip them in favor of Power Rangers. Yeah, since I had to skip a bunch of seasons in between it, since Ninja Storm, Mystic Force, Overdrive. Okay, actually, I do have some choices for Operation Overdrive. I know I skipped a couple of seasons because I don't have any good actors, choices for them for the time being right now. If an Operation Overdrive movie was ever made, let's see here. Who did I pick for Mac? Who I pick for Will? Who I picked for Rose? Who did I pick for Ronnie? I haven't picked anybody for Dax and Tyzon yet. Actually, for Rose, I chose actress Veronica Sanchez. I haven't heard of her before. I think she would make a great Rose, in a Operation Overdrive movie as the Pink Ranger. I don't know what she's been in, but I'll roll with it. For Mac, I would make Graham Rogers as Mac. Mac Hartford. What do you think of that for Operation Overdrive? As much as Mac is one of the worst Red Rangers in my book, I would like to see Mac done right and proper, because the Mac in the TV show was bland. Even though, yeah, sure, with Power Rangers Megaforce with Troy, but, if I did a Megaforce movie, but, he can make a great Mac Hartford. Let's see, for Ronnie, now, Ronnie was going to be hard. Originally, I was going to see Blake Lively as Ronnie, but I decided whoever this chick is, Yale Goblas, whatever her name is, this chick here as Ronnie, if she was Ronnie, and we can see her as Ronnie. Now, I had to think of a good big name celebrity to play Will, the Black Ranger from Operation Overdrive. I couldn't think of a good actor with cornrows on his head to look like Will, because think about Samuel Benta, who played Will in Overdrive on the show. I just could not think about any dude with cornrows on his. I mean, just because Will had them dreadlock cornrows in the back of his head, don't mean this is what. Yeah, even though Will was, that's what Will was, because of course Will was a thief, and fucking thief from stealing a certain Make-A-Wish Foundation banner from the first Power Morphicon 10 years ago in 2007. Sorry, that had to slip. But there is this one big name actor I did think of for Will. It's a actor and rapper, and you are familiar to this dude. I think Ludacris would make a good Will, the Black Overdrive Ranger, because can you imagine Ludacris in a Power Rangers movie? And I know that sounds like a bad choice, but I just couldn't think of a good black guy to be Will from Overdrive. Now as of now, Dax and Tyzon, I don't have any good actor choices for him. Now I don't know how I feel with Dax and definitely with Tyzon, but as much as I don't care for Operation Overdrive, but I have no choice to come up with some decent fan casting choices. If Saban ever made a Power Rangers Operation Overdrive movie, or I would have done it with Saban, but whatever. Moving on. Now, as of now, for Jungle Fury, there is only one choice I can think of for one of the Jungle Fury Rangers, and of that, I chose another, first Marvel Cinematic Universe, Illuminati in a while, Elizabeth Olsen. If she was Lily, the yellow Jungle Fury Ranger with the spirit of a cheetah. Yeah, I know. Scarlet Witch herself, if she was part of the Pai Shuao, Order of the Claw, if she was Lily, the yellow ranger from Jungle Fury. And, I'm just running. It seems like as soon as I get past Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed, and them, then I run out of casting ideas who to pick for the rest of Time Force, all the way to till if I ever did a Dino Charge movie for the Legacy, and that depends on how many Power Ranger movies I'll probably make, because it's just not going to be possible making that many Power Ranger movies. But I got to try. It's the only way how. But I don't know how you feel if you see, I know Anna Hutchison was great as Lily in Jungle Fury. I was about to say Overdrive there, that slipped. But what if a Power Rangers Jungle Fury movie was made, movie reboot of Jungle Fury, I mean, who do you think would play Theo, Casey, Lily, RJ, and Dom, the Spirit Rangers, Master Mao, and the rest of the Order of the Claw, Daishi and Camille? Who do you think would play them if a Power Rangers Jungle Fury movie was made? Let me know in the comments for that. So for now, it's just only a choice for Lily from Jungle Fury, and that's that. And but I do, however, since I'm going on too long enough, since I don't have any good casting choices for a rebooting casting options of new actors to play the following Rangers of the Neo Saban era, so I'll stop right here with Power Rangers RPM, if a Power Rangers RPM movie was ever made. Alright, so I'll just stop here with my last fan casting choices of actors to play for some of the following Rangers. So the last would be Power Rangers RPM. Now get ready, RPM fans, since I pretty much nailed some of the castings that are very accurate to the RPM cast of actors from the show, like, Eka Darville and Rose McIvers, kinda, and Dan Ewing, and yeah, but, and them guys. So, I would say, if I were to do a Power Rangers RPM movie, and if I cast the following actors for a Power Rangers RPM movie, and especially for the PRLU, and please advise, and everybody knows RPM is in an alternate dimension from other series of Power Rangers. So doing an RPM movie could be a piece of cake, having them in an alternate dimension from other teams, but we can have some occasional hiccups of them teaming up with other Ranger teams. No biggie. We can have, okay, so the first I chose for Scott Truman, the Red Ranger, or just Scott, just call him Scott. Ranger Operator Series Red, as I would go as by Dr. K's words. For replacing Eka Darville, I would go with, since I have only like 1 or 2, 3 or so Nickelodeon or Disney actors for some of the RPM Rangers here for a reboot movie. Corbin Bleu of High School Musical and such fame as Scott the Red Ranger from RPM Ranger Operator Series Red. The one thing notable, unlike Scott, he doesn't have that large stack of hair that Eka Darville had when playing as Scott. But we can go with it. Even though Corbin Bleu, for those who remember him from High School Musical, he had all that. I mean, he had messy looking hair, cornrow hair, and stuff like that. But it's going to be impossible to see him with that kind of hair on his head again, even in his 30s now. But still, even though High School Musical is long over, but all right, we'll see him as Scott Truman. Next, I would have for Flynn, the Ranger Operator Series Blue, actor Oliver Jackson Cohen, who I have no idea what he has been in, but I don't think he is Scottish from what I can recall from when I did research on the actor, what he's been on or has not been on. I think he would make a good Flynn, or get someone who's actually true Scottish to play Flynn, the only Scottish Power Ranger in the franchise. I'm Scottish! Close enough. For Summer, Ranger Operator Series Yellow. Alright, well, when I mentioned Blake Lively, I couldn't decide whether I should have her as Kelsey for Lightspeed, or Lily for Jungle Fury, or maybe for a Megaforce movie have Blake Lively as Gia. I figure let's have her as Summer. Ranger Operator Series Yellow. Blake Lively, she's been in dozens of things, and I don't want to go on and mention what she was on because I'd probably know, like the Green Lantern movie. She's married to Ryan Reynolds. And can you imagine Blake Lively in a Power Rangers movie? And if she was any of these Rangers here, and if Saban was to continue doing more Power Ranger movies. But yeah, I would love to see myself cast Blake Lively as because based on the split image with the RPM Yellow Ranger, you can see her wearing a yellow dress, which I was like, yeah, let's make her Summer. Or I originally was going to make her Lily for the Jungle Fury reboot cast, but again, since there ain't nobody I can figure for Jungle Fury besides Elizabeth Olsen, so let's go with Blake Lively, another big name actress, if she was one of the Yellow Rangers. So for Dylan, Ranger Operator Series Black, I was thinking the obvious choice, similar to how Dan Ewing looked on the show. Let's have former Superman Clark Kent from Smallville himself, Tom Welling, as Dylan. Now, what do you think of that choice, guys? Anyone? Any Smallville fans in the house here in the comments? Anyone? Yeah, I mean, I know Tom Welling hasn't been doing anything much in Hollywood that often after Smallville ended. But I would like to see him as come back as something else. But for this fan casting thing, I would like to see this former Superman himself be a Power Ranger. And in this image here from one of the episodes of Smallville, Black Jacket and stuff, I can make him like Dylan, the Black RPM Ranger, and nothing much more else. Then for Ziggy, this is an actor. Okay, I picked an actor for Ziggy. I tried to find an actor. Well, you see, earlier on, before the actor I chose for Ziggy later, there were going to be two actors, former actors from the show Malcolm in the Middle. One who played Dewey, the other one who played Reese, but those guys are retired. So for Ziggy, for the last minute of this, so the actor I picked for Ziggy, I forgot his name. I was looking him up this morning at the time of this video, and he was, I think he would fit Ziggy's, character, being the comic relief. I don't know what works, but regardless, let it rip. So for Ziggy, I just had his image somewhere, and well, it's on in the front, but in the recording of this, it's like I'm searching on the phone where I had his picture. I just had him. He was just around here. Crap. This guy, whatever he is, he was probably on some shows on Nickelodeon or something, and I think he should be Ziggy, Ranger Operator Series Green. Yeah, and I pretty much did the. Never mind. So he's pretty. It doesn't say. Have him. He was on a few shows. He was on a show or so on Nickelodeon. So I figured let's have him as Ranger Operator Series Green. And I pretty much pulled off a freaking talent show with the search for the next Green Ranger for RPM, like RPM did itself. And lastly, Gem and Gemma. Now, Gem and Gemma was kind of easy to do. So I had to find 2 actors of Asian descent to play if they were to be Gem and Gemma. Ranger Operator Series Gold and Silver. Okay, you have one actor. You have an actor who was a former teen child star on Nickelodeon, on the Nickelodeon show, and then you have a former, Disney Channel star who was in, a teen star in a set of movies or something. So yeah, I have Ryan Potter and Brenda Song from two different variant shows for 2 different networks of Nickelodeon and Disney respectively, if they were Gem and Gemma in a Power Rangers RPM movie reboot. And I think I kind of nailed it right there. Have Gem and Gemma played by one actor from a former Nickelodeon star and one from formerly Disney Channel. So I think I did. I think I played my cards right with the RPM Rangers. Vengeance, I don't know who to pick for that right now. But I do have somebody for Tenaya 7. And yeah, this is also somebody from a former Nickelodeon show. Oh God, Elizabeth Gillies, who you may know from the show Victorious, a show on Nickelodeon, not Disney. If I were to cast her as Tenaya 7, if a Power Rangers RPM movie reboot was made. Because, come to think of it with Elizabeth Gillies, in some of the things she's been in recently after that, what got my attention of her coldness and vapidness and stuck-upness as a character actor was in the TV movie Killin' Daddy, which I saw on Lifetime 3 years ago. And that's what got my attention to think, as soon as, here I am 3 years later doing these fan castings. I'm like, I wonder what Power Rangers character I want to imagine her in a reboot movie someday. And I thought she fits Tenaya 7, in my opinion. Now, I know when I did Lost Galaxy, you're probably wondering, you should have did Trakina younger. Don't do no old-ass bitch, like what I did with Rowena herself. But Tenaya, I think Elizabeth Gillies fits Tenaya than Trakina for the Lost Galaxy cast for a movie. But again, it's basically the fact, I think she fits Tenaya more than her, but that's just my opinion. And, yeah, I mean, she fits it just fine right there. So, after over 3 hours of ranting about these casting choices, fan casting choices, now, as of now, Power Rangers Samurai, Megaforce, Dino Charge don't have any fan casting choices for reboots at the moment. Actually, I don't think Samurai, Megaforce, and Dino Charge need reboots, even though Samurai, Megaforce, and Dino Charge are part of the Power Rangers legacy. Ninja Steel is currently airing, so I can't do movies of them. And I don't even want to do movies of Ninja Steel. Also, although Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, Mystic Force don't have any good casting choices, and same go for Jungle Fury for the remaining missing. So, yeah, having all of those A-listers and no names and up-and-coming rising actors listed above for the 3 hours I spent ranting about this, I do think I'll try as much as possible. Probably go like the Once Upon a Time, approach with Power Rangers, having all these different characters crammed into one, like let's say like a season or something, or a movie. Nah, it's best to have them in their individual eras and knowing that they're in the same universe as one of another until probably a crossover movie with one another, like an annual crossover film, something like that. Rebooting the Power Rangers timeline or whatever that I'm going to do. So after over 3 hours of ranting I think I did my fan casting, choices. Yeah, aside for the fact I went on for 3 hours recording and, considered what kind of choices I could pick if they were these characters. So I kind of played my cards half right, half wrong. I know some of you probably will probably have in the comments, why did you make, let's say, Trini Latina? Why did you make Maya a black woman? Why did you make Trakina be a redhead ginger? Why did you make those kind of choices like that? Or why'd you make Taylor Lautner Lucas or something like that? So I'm like, this is what I can come up with, because you see, I mean, the actors who played them on the show were great for what they did for the time with their roles. But if you're going to reboot Power Rangers, you got to find actors to be the characters, the next in line, passing the torch. I mean, the old actors from the TV actors who played them on the show, yeah, they were great. But it's time we saw other people play these characters now. I mean, I don't have nothing against people, like I said, like in the beginning of this video, 3 hours in, Jason David Frank, Austin St. John, and all those guys. I just want to see other people play those characters. Seriously. So that's it for what, actors that I did confirm. Fan casting choices I pretty much came up with for the Power Rangers Legacy fan film universe after my initial Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film standalone series is done. And let me know what you guys think of these choices. And also, I would like to thank you guys for subscribing. I would like to thank you guys for your time with this video. More to come, but I'm gonna be out for a while because the internet's gonna get cut off. So I did this video before it got cut off. So in the meantime, please, be sure to subscribe for more of these videos to come and other content. And I'll be back very, very soon when I get episodes 301 or whatever, and so to come to running. So this was Anthony Mars Jr. on PR Lost Galaxy 2014. Subscribe, drop a like, share this video with your friends, and, comment. And until next time, thanks for watching.